from? Where they from? Students? The high school?
No, I think they're just community members. This is Milwaukee,
Oh,
and we are here. They're not going in.
oh, okay.
All right, it's 7:09. The board previously met in closed session under exceptions C1, C11, and C21. I'd like to call to order the June 25th, 2024, recall to order the June 25th, 2024 Waukegan Public School Board of Education meeting. If I can do a roll call.
Mr. McBride,
Yes.
Miss Fabian,
Present.
Miss Gonzalez,
Here.
Mr. Riddle,
Present.
Miss Hannah, Miss Lensing, President Ewing.
Here, we do have a quorum. All board members are present, so I expect them to be joining us any minute. With that, I'd like a motion to resume open session.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
by Mr. Riddle. Motion by Ms. Gonzalez, seconded by Mr. Riddle. All in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. We're back in open session. Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Dupuis, if you be so kind as to lead us in the pledge.
Dupree?
We should have asked one of them to do it.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
So, for time, I'm going to hold my president's report. We do have our student board member, current student board member, Mr. Hinojosa, is unavailable this evening, but we do have the resolution that we'll be discussing during special recognition. So I'll go there at this time. So we do have the proclamation. I know you guys received the information. I got suggestions and recommendations back from Ms. Gonzalez, and so at this time, with the proclamation as written, I wanted to give us an opportunity to direct administration. So I think the intent of the proclamation, the board has already identified that they agree with. There were some questions and concerns related to the language. And so what the suggestions were, if you would provide your suggestions, Ms. Gonzalez, because I know both you and Ms. Lensing also helped Victor with the proclamation.
Oh, more Miss Linsing than me. Okay. Yeah, I didn't help with this one. What I had suggested, and I encourage you all to look at the attachments in board docs, because this was Victor Hinojosa's one of his babies. So when the work comes directly from a student, I think that we should honor that work, obviously critique it and give positive feedback, as well as constructive feedback. But just to be familiar with it, with some of the things that the students are asking for, right? So something I had suggested, because the language within the proclamation extends beyond some of the authority that we have as the Board of Education for D60, I recommended that we make statements that affirm being inclusive and welcoming to the students who identify as queer or gender non-conforming in our schools, and to reaffirm that we should have an inclusive education, which is now something that is designated under Governor Pritzker as something that the teachers have to include in their curriculum, in addition to all the different kinds of contributions from different communities. So I feel like we keep it a little bit more tied to the education that we want to provide our students, and how we want to make them feel affirmed in our buildings. Even though I know a lot of what he was including was some of which was very factual, but some of which was also very strong worded, and I know we went back and forth about whether this should be included in a proclamation that we make as a district, and some of the liability that it opens us up to. So those two recommendations is what I would want to tailor the proclamation to. One, an affirmation, and two, a reinforcement of the inclusive curriculum. for the district.
So Ms. Hannah had a question, and then I see your hand, Ms. Lindsay.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, and as I read this, I had some concerns, and I was talking with legal, and I was a little disappointed to hear that legal had no role in devising this. That's the first one. And my other issue with this, because I haven't heard anything or didn't see anything, has there been any parent input? Has this been taken forth to the parents to have input in this proclamation? And if it hasn't, I don't think that at this time, until we talk and get input from all of the district parents about this, we kind of need to hold on a minute so that parents can have some input into this. I mean, because this is going to, this is permeating throughout the district. And we need to hear from our parents so that we can get the full picture.
Yeah.
And
Ms.
so-
Lindsay, question.
So I did work very closely with Mr. Hinojosa and staff that I'm not going to name and students that I'm not going to name. And the reason I'm not going to name them is because individuals of the LGBTQ QIA2S+ community have expressed that there has been discrimination in the district. There has been slurs in the hallway, there's been negative treatment, and it's highly inappropriate. So student voice was brought in, it was brought to some of the clubs. My frustration at the moment is we didn't put the banned books proclamation under the same level of scrutiny. We didn't ask, did we talk to the parents about the banned books proclamation? So we're changing the game. This proclamation is to make or affirm our students, staff, and community members that identify as LGBTQIA2S+ feel safe in our school. That is the goal. We want everyone to feel safe. You do not have to, I'm trying to word this the most appropriate way. It's not, it's who they are, right? So you can have personal issues with this topic. However, these individuals are part of our community and we should love them and we should make sure every student is safe. Students in the queer community are at higher risk for violence, self-harm, suicide. And if this can bring them some sort of peace that I am safe in Waukegan schools, I'm a huge supporter of it. So I understand taking in some of the considerations that Ms. Gonzalez put up. This has been on the agenda. Everyone has, it was posted more than 2 weeks ago. Legal has had access to it for over 2 weeks. And so if there were additional concerns, we could have addressed that before tonight. So that's also transparently some of my frustration. But we did have staff voice, we did have student voice, and I am personally a little sad that this isn't something that we could wrap up tonight and vote on as a board because it is Pride Month.
That's right.
Ms. Fabian.
I agree with your sentiments, and I think although I am always a proponent of getting all stakeholder feedback, this proclamation is to our students. And so that is the primary audience that we are speaking to, and that's who should be considered. Some of the issues that I have is just making sure that we are consistent. Like the teacher in me sees the grammar, and where we're adding an extra S or we're capitalizing students in some areas and not in others. So just if we can, if we expect our students to write to grammatically correct, we should as well. But the other concern that I really have is when we write, and it is fact that our LGBTQ plus community does have higher rates of mental health issues. And, you know, I have experienced it even within my own family, seeing students that have been, you know, kicked out of their homes and have just more challenges because they're not supported by their families. Where I take issue is where we say committing suicide. I would like that language changed to die by suicide, because we want to make sure that we are sensitive as well, because it is a mental health issue. And when it goes unchecked, unfortunately, that sometimes is the consequence. But I think words matter. And so if we could change from blaming or putting the onus on the student that they are committing this act to they're dying by, I think I would feel better just changing that verbiage as well.
I just want to personally thank you. That's something that I wasn't aware of, so that's good that you're sharing that, so that as a larger community we can use proper language.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes, I fully support the resolution. I do like the way our legal has revised it. I thought that Ms. Vanderbroek did a good job of changing, but that's still putting the important part and the focus, keeping the focus, as Ms. Lensing said, on our students and providing safety to them, and that they need to know this. The church that I go to in Waukegan is an LGBTQ plus a warm, welcoming church, and that church unfortunately recently had some graffiti on its sidewalk, simply because it does support these individuals who are in our community and contribute greatly to our community. So there is, as Ms. Lensing said, there is pushback from some people in our community, and I think we have to do what we can to welcome and assure the safety of our students while they're in our community and in our schools. So I fully support the resolution as it stands, along with the changes that our legal has provided.
Miss, I'm going to go from the end and come back. Miss Fabian.
Thank you, Mr. Riddle, for sharing that, because that is a concern that there is pushback. But I also want to highlight that the law is the law. This is a protected group of people.
Yes.
In addition to that, and Adriana alluded to it, we did have ISB change the law in 2020 to
Right.
include more LGBTQ plus representation within all of our curriculums. So apart from whatever sentiments that we may have, it is our job to educate students who come to our district,
Right.
how they come to our district, and abide by that law, right? They are protected, and they should feel protected, and they should feel safe within our school and our district. So I just wanted to highlight that, and I know Adriana spoke a bit to that as well.
Important point. Thank you.
Miss Lensing?
So I do apologize if you've already stated this, Board President, but as we continue, or as we have this discussion, I just want to make sure that community members, staff members, students, that your concerns are voiced to the board. So we want, our primary job is the safety of our students, right? And so if you have disagreements, you can voice that to the adults involved in the process and not have any negative conversations toward our students that in the board members' position that propose this. So please keep it appropriate. Please address it to the adults. That's my final ask.
Miss Anna?
As you all just were talking about, you all are leaving out, and I am not changing any kind of rules in the middle of anything, because my first concern and only concern are all of the children. All of the children. They're children. And we are here to educate them. But as in all the process of educating our children, we also need to hear parents. And I understand what the proclamation is. I've read it. I understand it. I still say that parents must have a say in this because, just like you all said, there's different philosophies, there's different beliefs, everything. And so to X out one of the biggest components, the parents of children, okay, that we're trying to educate, that's not board friendly.
Yeah, so I'll take the final comment related to this topic. So we do have direction from the board. There were some suggested language changes. So if we can go back, make those suggested changes and come forward with a resolution at an upcoming meeting that we can vote on. I will say is quick facts. Number one, this is promoting student voice. This was not something that was at the board level. This is not something that we said, let's sit around and do it. It's something that our students vocalized, work through the process to bring forward, and I do think that it should be honored. We've passed other resolutions. Me and Ms. Gonzalez worked together on the, was it safe passage? Which one?
You
Well,
did that before, but yeah.
Before, yeah.
The safe haven.
Safe haven law.
Safe haven, yes, we
rule
did.
where we just reaffirmed exactly what it is Waukegan Public Schools is
A sanctuary.
a sanctuary, essentially, right? And we're not going to comply where I know, Kathy, but yes, we have our rules. And so when we have interested parties, resolutions that come forward, the way that it comes is it comes to a board member and we discuss it, right? If we are going to act on it, not act on it. So the process was followed. So for parents, there's nothing that's fundamentally changing except for we have students of the LGBTQ plus IA community who have said we sometimes don't feel supported and affirmed at school. That's it. So if you have the curriculum, we don't have a say. It's the law.
State level.
It's the law, yeah.
So it's like saying we don't want to teach any of the other histories that we're responsible and obligated to teach.
No more Black History Month. No
Right.
more Asian American Heritage Month.
Correct. So we don't, to Miss Fabian's point, is if they would like or have questions, comments, concerns, that's not even something that they should be directing to the board. They should be writing an email into ISB their representatives because it's affirmed through state statute. So again, that is irrelevant to us. So again, I think I just want to go back to the point that these are our students' voices, and our students are the ones who brought this forward. So I appreciate that, and for the board members who did help and all of those others who assisted to bring light to this issue, we'll make those revisions and keep it moving. And each individual board member have to vote their conscience. Now, we do have 2 board member appointments. So if I have Miss Melanie Rosales and Miss Brianna Bravo, if you all are in attendance, you guys can come up to the front.
All right.
My bad. So I want to do 2 things. So you're going to be standing up just for a little bit. So number 1, I want to first highlight and thank Miss Hannah. So the idea of a student board member came from Miss Hannah. The idea of, and it was supported by the rest of the board, but the idea originated with Miss Hannah. The other thing that Miss Hannah has been a big proponent of is expanding the number of student board members so that we have representation from each building. So this will be the first year that Waukegan Public Schools has 2 student board member representatives. So. As we champion and highlight student voice, it's not just something that we talk about or we give lip service to, because I say everybody wants young people involved in politics until young people actually get involved in politics. And so I thank you all for your commitment and wanting to serve your student body. And so we will have 1 student representative who represents the Brookside campus, the other one who represents our upperclassmen at the Washington campus. And right now, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the appointments of both Brianna Bravo and Melanie Rosales.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Oh, I guess I should read the recommended action, Superintendent, so we get it correctly.
It is recommended that the Board of Education appoint Waukegan High School Rising sophomore Brianna Bravo, Brookside Campus, and Rising Junior, Melanie Rosales, Washington campus, to serve as the student board members during the 2024 through 2025 school year, replacing Victor Hinojosa.
You got a motion?
Oh, no, we
So
got
moved.
Motion by Ms. Gonzalez,
second.
second by Ms. Hannah. Any comments, questions on the motion?
It finally got done. I wanted 2 board members from the beginning to represent Washington campus and Brookside. And so I'm just elated that we finally have 2 student board members for each campus. And I wish you well. Anytime you need anything, please, I am available all the time. And I'll make sure that you have my number, my email, anything. And I'm so glad and proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hannah. Ms. Lindsay?
I just want to congratulate both of you for first being interested, but then also presenting such great ideas during the interview process. We're very excited to see what you're going to do this next school year, so congratulations.
Ms. Fabian?
I just want to say congratulations, but I also see some of our JRTC staff, so I'm assuming these ladies came from that group.
All right.
And it seems to be a trend, which JROTC is, to support leadership. But looking at all our past board members, thank you, staff members as well, our JRTC crew, for creating and helping to support our leaders. And thank you for stepping up, ladies.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yeah, I wanted to, I know Victor isn't here. Hopefully he comes back. Okay, he will. Yeah. But I just wanted to reiterate, in addition to Ms. Hannah wanting increased student voice on the board, that he really put in a lot of legwork. And he wanted more students to help him. And I know that when we made the decision, it wasn't easy because you are all fantastic. But I really hope that you all work as a team, and so I just wanted to give kudos and flowers to him for sitting down and writing this new policy that allows you to be here. But also, I'm so excited for you guys to have each other during this process, because
Absolutely.
that's honestly the hardest part of the job, is feeling lonely through it, right? And community is everything. So, yeah, make the most of it.
Well said.
Thank you. And the only thing that I will add is it's been amazing to watch the development of our student board members. So there's a list of our past student board members that's represented. Shout out to Raven May, who's old enough to have graduated college. And and she's going into her doctorate program. Correct.
program.
So we had Raven May, Austin Cantu, Van Weddle, Assam Sani, Joanna Gutierrez, Victor Hinojosa, and now we have Melody Rosales and Brianna Bravo. So if you ladies will come forward. Oh, we didn't vote. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Appointments are confirmed. Come on up.
Yeah.
Yay, all right.
So before we do handshakes, I'm going to sit because it's easier for me to read. So I, and then both of you state your name. So repeat after me. I. Well, you got to say I, and then state your name. Having been appointed to the position of student board member, Board of Education, Community Unit School District 60, in the city of Waukegan, Illinois, in the county of Lake, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully perform my duties as a student board member and will conduct myself in a professional manner. I further swear that I will uphold my duties as a student board member by attending Board of Education meetings and faithfully representing my fellow students to the best of my ability. I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion of my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board, while respecting the privacy of students and employees. I shall recognize that I am a non-voting member of the board. However, I am encouraged to lend my opinion to board discussions. And I shall remain respectful to community members, my fellow students, my teachers, and all district employees. And I will not attempt to use my position to exercise influence. In matters unrelated to my duties as a student board member. Congratulations and welcome to the board.
All right.
I am so. I mean, this is wonderful. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. This is wonderful because if you look at
Welcome.
the original proposal, it had 2 board members in it, and it was always that the law says you can only have one, da 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 da, and so this is such progress with our student board members, and I'd like to tell the student board members, give them a message. Ladies, keep the focus on your fellow students and help them, give them resources that you all have. Tell them to start coming to board meetings, and that's when their voices can really be heard. And so I know you all will do a great job, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Anna. All right, so we have our next items. Yeah, clap it up for them. 9A, closed session minute approvals. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the closed session minutes dated March 28, 2024, February 6, 2024, March 23rd, 2023, February 28th, 2023, November 2nd, 2022, and October 26, 2022. Previously reviewed in closed session.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Riddle.
Second.
Second by Ms. Lindsay.
Sorry, that was abrupt.
Any comments or questions? All in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Closed session minutes are approved. Item 9B, approval of minutes of the open session meeting May 14, 2024.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Riddle.
Second.
Second by Ms. Lindsay. Any comments or questions on the motion? All in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Minutes are approved. We now have our opportunity for public comment. The sheet comes forward. As I call your names, I'm going to call them 3 at a time. I'm going to request that you all line up right here at the podium so we can expedite the process. We ask that you refrain from mentioning student and staff member names in your remarks. Thank you. Yeah, we ask that you refrain from mentioning student staff member names in your remarks. If you need translation services will be provided to you, and you will get 6 minutes to allow for the translation. And we do want to remind all speakers of civility. With that, the first 3 names are Pastor Julie Contreras, I believe that's Maya Rivas, and Montserrat Angelou. If I mispronounce the name, please correct me at the podium. And we do have cake, so I know we don't want to be disrespectful of public comment, but as soon as public comment is done, if anybody would like some cake, you can grab some in the back, and we'll be handing it out. Thank you.
Saying it in English, though? Yeah.
The peace of God be with you. The following message is for Miss Hannah. But I wanted to start by saying I appreciate
I
all of you.
apologize, Miss Contreras. We have the 6-minute clock up. If we can get the 3-minute clock up, and then whenever you're ready, you can start.
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead.
This following message is for you, Miss Hannah. But I wanted to start by saying I appreciate all of you present on the board and all of you who work every day to improve the lives of those in our community. As a pastor, I constantly am humbled by learning by both my elders and youth. So please take what I'm about to say to you, Miss Hannah, with the utmost respect in mind, in the hopes that you hear these words with an open heart for the understanding and reflection. So I want to put this frankly. You have made a history of generalization about our immigrant students and teachers, specifically the repeated public inflammatory remarks towards our Filipino teachers and staff, as well as innocent refugee students. There are Black, brown, and all children who are entrusted in our school district's care, who are seeing this hostility from someone who has held up by their own community and expected to do right by them. And yet they are made to feel as though they are obstacles to their peers and the rest of society in your eyes, Ms. Hannah. The same goes for your fellow board members who are forced to experience that discrimination. It is incredibly disheartening to see this type of discrimination from someone who understands that anti-Blackness permeates the foundations of every form of discrimination, and yet who does not extend that understanding to combat the racism and xenophobia experienced by our immigrant community members. It's hurtful to see this discrimination come from someone who has been a representative of our community for more than 30 years. The Black and Male Student Success Initiative Committee meetings, it was stated they had taken place, yet you as a board member admitted to never attending them and still have the nerve to interrupt your fellow professional colleagues with xenophobic rhetoric. It is hurtful to see the discrimination push the LGBTQ plus speech to the next meeting at the end of June because the board members got so caught up dealing with your discriminating tangent about immigrants, when the conversation could have easily been taken into private to prevent misunderstandings. This is an understanding to be had in regards to personal ignorance and what we are told all our lives to think about people who are different from us. But that understanding can only truly be had when one takes the initiative to be understanding. And as a board member, your community expects that strongly from you. We stand here in solidarity to liberate the newly arrived students from that discriminatory way of thinking. The rest of the world is already trying so hard to put them in. You, as a woman of color, should understand this oh well. And instead of adding onto more discrimination, you should welcome them. The browning of Waukegan School District has occurred. And if there is a board member who does not like that fact, then it is they who need to find another district. We are Waukegan. Somos aquí y no los vamos.
Sorry, time is up. Mia Rivas.
And I just want to tell everybody out there, I did not discriminate against anyone.
All right, Ms.
I was not saying anything discriminatory or derogatory about any student,
Ms. Hannah.
any group
Ms.
of
Hannah.
students. I was
Ms. Hannah.
asking only about a plan
Ms. Hannah.
that encompassed the African American students. It had no kind of derogatory anything to do with disparaging any group of students. And
So we have
I'm
students,
sorry
individuals out here.
that people with different agendas are using this as an agenda point, and anything that they have done to make you all think that I am against children, they don't know me. And unfortunately, the person that is leading has always brought negative things to me when I say something, but nobody else can say anything. I'm saying things.
Afuera, 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 afuera.
So,
Yeah.
public comment.
You lady.
Public comment
I'm
is.
on
Ms. Hannah, I'm gonna ask that you refrain. Public comment is an opportunity for the community to address the board. It is not an opportunity for back and forth. We have board agreements. Part of why we are in this situation is because we don't
Brandon,
follow our
don't
board
do
agreements.
that. Because I'm not going to sit here and let someone
I'd like to take a 5-minute recess.
defame my name. I'm not going to do it.
Talk about people, but you don't want people to
I haven't talked. I
board, so we did call a recess. I'd like a motion to resume open session.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
by Ms. Lensing, seconded by Mr. Riddle.
Hola.
Before we get started, I'm sorry. Before we get started, we will continue with public comment. I do want to remind the Board of Education that the public comment is an opportunity for the public to address the board. We do want to remind speakers of civility, but it's a one-way dialogue. We have, if we get to it, we have board member time in which we can address any other concerns, and we also have other times in the agenda. So in order for us to get through this expeditiously, I'm going to ask that we can continue. But before we get started, I also want to remind the public is that if there are outbursts, different things, I've never had to remove anybody from a room. I don't want to. So what I'm going to ask is that we present our public comment, the board listens to our public comment, and then we move forward with the agenda so that we can complete the work of the board. So that is what I'm asking. What I'm also going to ask is if we can all stand and take a moment of silence, because I feel like we need to lower our blood pressure. And we all should be reflective of what it is that we're here for, and that's for our students. You can be seated. The next name on the list is it Maya or Mia? I just want to make sure I have the pronunciation correct. Mia Rivas? All right, Mia.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Mía Rivas Márquez.
Good afternoon. My name is Mia Rivas Marquez.
Yo vivo aquí en Waukegan.
I grew up here in Waukegan.
Estudio aquí en Waukegan.
I live here in Waukegan. She said I studied here. Oh, I'm sorry. I studied here in Waukegan.
Y quiero que mi programa de inglés
And I would like my program.
siga avanzando.
What is it?
Siga avanzando.
And I want my program to continue.
Gracias a mis profesoras y profesores.
Thank you
Amo
to
mi
my
escuela.
teachers.
Amo mi escuela, amo mis profesoras y profesores
I love my school and I also love my teachers
y mis compañeros.
and also my classmates.
Somos Waukegan.
Somos Waukegan. We are Waukegan.
Next name on the list is Montserrat, and if I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly, Angelou, if I mispronounce it, please correct me.
¿Cómo se pronuncia tu nombre? Montserrat. Montserrat. Okay. Okay.
All right, Montserrat, whenever you're ready, your time will begin.
Cuando quieras empezar, ya puedes empezar. Sí se puede.
My name is Montserrat. Vivo en Waukegan.
My name is Montserrat. I live in Waukegan.
Estudio en Waukegan.
I study in Waukegan.
Soy de Venezuela.
I am from Venezuela.
Mi mamá es colombiana.
My mom is Colombian.
Mi programa en inglés está avanzando.
My program in English is advancing.
Waukegan.
Waukegan. algo más que quieres decir?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next name on the list is Cynthia Lopez.
Cynthia.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Cintia.
Good afternoon. My name is Cynthia.
Bueno, pues gracias por estar aquí presentes. Gracias por estar aquí, pues, tribunal.
Thank you all for being present here.
Bueno, primero que nada, siento que el programa que tenemos hoy en día,
First of all, I feel that the program that we have now,
en general,
or in general,
sirven para muchas personas que hoy en día
it helps a lot of people nowadays.
son doctores,
They're doctors,
son ingenieros,
they're engineers,
son personas con un título hoy en día.
they are individuals who have a title today.
Gracias a esos programas que hemos tenido y que nos dan beneficios,
Thank you to those programs that have come and that give us those benefits,
y nos dan sueños,
and they help us realize our dreams.
nos dan oportunidades y nos dan esperanzas
They give us opportunities and hope
de ser alguien en la vida.
to be someone in life.
Gracias a todos, la verdad, me siento tan agradecida por estar aquí y compartir un poco mi experiencia.
Thank you to everyone. I feel grateful to be here and be able to share my experience.
Soy miembro de Waukegan College
I'm a member of Waukegan College,
y me ha dado muchas oportunidades hoy en día y saber qué quiero ser.
and they have given me a lot of opportunities and helped me figure out what I want to be.
Y quiero ser criminalística y quiero ser abogada en justicia.
I want to be an attorney, and a justice attorney, and then a criminologist.
Y siento que el programa donde estoy me ha dado el que quiero ser y el que seguirá de mi vida.
And the program that I am in is helping me with what I want to do with my life.
Y siento que como me ha ayudado a mí, le pueden ayudar a muchas personas más.
And I feel like as it has helped me, it will help many others.
Por ejemplo, yo soy miembro de un colegio estudiantil que estoy en la escuela que se llama LEA.
For example, I'm part of a student organization called Hilea,
Que se trata de ayudar a los jóvenes que son recién llegados de Latinoamérica,
that tries to help newcomers from Latin America
que trata de darles el sueño que ellos también buscan
and tries to help them with dreams that they are also searching for,
y impulsarlos a lo que quieren estudiar y lo que quieren, pues, a dedicarse toda su vida.
and to help them realize what they want to study and what they want to do in life.
Y hasta hoy en día he visto niños que tienen muchos sueños
And up until now, I've seen a lot of children who have a lot of dreams
que quieren alcanzar
that want to reach
y tener una oportunidad en este país.
and that want to have an opportunity in this country.
Como no pudieron o por circunstancias, problemas, lo que hayan tenido, con todo respeto,
Due
sin-
to circumstances or other things that may have happened, with respect,
siento que ese sueño se lo merecen porque sufrieron demasiado. Cada persona tiene su historia.
because I feel like they should be able to reach their dreams. Every student or person has their own history.
Y siento que se le tiene que dar una oportunidad a cada persona o una segunda oportunidad, como
And I think that they should be given another chance, just like any other person.
porque todos somos seres humanos y hemos tenido errores como cualquier persona, en verdad.
Because we are all human beings and we have all made errors like any other person.
Y si el motivo, con todo respeto,
And if the reason, with all respect,
el querer quitar estos programas
to relieve yourself of those problems,
quitaría muchos sueños.
it would take away a lot of dreams.
Okay, I'm sorry. Y me duele
And it hurts me
el saber que le quieren quitar sueños a personas que no tienen nada de culpa.
that you want to take away the dreams of other people that don't have any faults.
Y si el motivo de ser, con todo respeto, si es racismo,
And if the reason, with all respect, if it's due to racism,
por personas que han hecho mal a este país.
by other people that have done wrong in this country.
Como latina les pido perdón por las personas que han hecho eso.
As a Latina, I do ask for forgiveness on behalf of those people.
Y pues es todo. Muchas gracias.
That is all. Thank you.
And again, thank you with some of the name spelling, but we have Luasanti Valentina. I want to make sure if I mispronounce, but
Valentina?
Hola, mi nombre es Luisani Valentina.
Good afternoon. My name is Luisa Valentina.
Luisa.
Soy de Venezuela
I am from Venezuela.
y tuve que caminar 7 países para llegar aquí
And I had to walk 7 countries to get here
con mi hermano para cumplir uno de nuestros sueños.
with my brother so we could both reach our dreams.
Y siento que hay muchas personas que vinimos aquí como los emigrantes para cumplir un sueño.
And I feel like we came just like any other immigrants to reach a dream.
Y creo que todas las personas tenemos una oportunidad.
And I think that as individuals, we all have an opportunity.
Y siento que el programa de inglés nos ayuda mucho a los inmigrantes para cumplir nuestros sueños y llegar a ser alguien en la vida.
And I think the English program helps us to reach our dreams.
Y me da mucha tristeza
And I feel sad
ver cómo le quitan el sueño a muchas personas,
to see how they take away the dreams of others.
o más que todo inmigrantes que aún acabamos de llegar y no sabemos inglés.
Or more take away from those immigrants who are recently newcomers who don't speak English.
Y nos quieren quitar este programa.
And they want to take away this program.
Habemos muchas personas de Venezuela que luchamos mucho en nuestro país
There's a lot of individuals from Venezuela who work hard in our country
porque tal vez todas las personas no sufren de la misma manera que otros.
because possibly not everyone suffers the same way.
Y yo quiero que todos los venezolanos o inmigrantes de mi país cumplamos el sueño de llegar a ser alguien en la vida, porque tal vez no todos son buenos, pero hay unos que sí lucharon mucho para llegar aquí.
And I do want all of the Venezuelans or individuals from my country to be able to reach their dreams. They might not all be good. There might be some bad, but we all deserve to reach our dreams.
Y esas personas que somos buenas, queremos llegar a ser alguien en la vida y cumplir todos nuestros sueños. Y tal vez hay personas que piensen que estamos haciendo el mal.
And for those individuals who are good people, we want an opportunity to also reach our dreams.
Y yo solo espero que no nos quiten este programa que es tan importante para muchas personas,
And I hope that they do not take away this program that's very important for a lot of people.
para los inmigrantes y niños que, como yo, quieren hacer alguien en la vida
For all immigrants or all children that want to be something,
Y-
that want to do something with their life.
y cumplir todos sus sueños sin que nada los detenga, porque aunque haya muchos obstáculos que nos detengan, no nos vamos a rendir.
And to reach all of their dreams, even if we have a lot of obstacles, we are not going to surrender.
Y espero que todo siga bien y que muchas personas que si pasa esto, espero que puedan ser muy fuertes.
And I hope that for all those individuals that they can also be as strong.
Y todo nuestro programa con la pastora Yuli, que ha sido una persona que mucho nos ayuda,
And
que
with this program with Pastor Julie, who she has always helped us,
que siempre vamos a estar muy unidos y no nos vamos a rendir.
we're always going to be united and we're not going to surrender.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Y somos de aquí.
Thank you.
We are not here.
Next name is Sarais Barrio.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Saray Barrios, vengo de Venezuela.
Good afternoon. My name is Ana Saray Barrios, and I come from Venezuela.
Somos refugiados.
We are refugees.
Tengo a mis sobrinas aquí que están estudiando aquí en Waukegan.
I do have my nieces here that study in Waukegan.
Y vengo a apoyarlas en el seguimiento del programa de bilingüe.
And I come to support them to support the bilingual program.
Un programa donde ellas están aprendiendo cada día más y nos están enseñando a nosotros en casa también del idioma, del inglés.
Which is a program where they are learning a lot, and they are also teaching us in English.
Quiero, así como yo y muchas madres y tías, quieren que sus sobrinos tengan la mejor educación.
Like many mothers and aunts, we want all of our nieces and nephews to get an education.
Algo que lamentablemente en nuestro país cada día es más crítico.
Which is unfortunately something that's very critical in our home country.
Y este es el país de las oportunidades donde hemos venido nosotros y hemos traído a nuestros niños a que crezcan y sean más grandes cada día.
And this is a country of opportunities that we have brought our children so they are able to grow and succeed every day.
Y queremos respeto y dignidad a nuestra comunidad inmigrante.
We want respect and dignity for our immigrant community.
Muchas gracias. Somos Waukegan.
We are Waukegan.
Thank you. Next name is Haiti Mama.
Muy buenas noches.
Good afternoon.
Mi nombre es Aide.
My name is Haide.
Les vengo a hablar como madre.
I come to speak to you as a mother.
Yo soy la mamá de Valentina.
I am the mother of Valentina.
Mi hija solo tiene 10 meses de haber llegado acá.
My daughter only has 10 months
Yo tengo
arriving
2 años
here.
acá
I have
y
2 years
con mucho
here.
sacrificio traje a mi hija.
With a lot of sacrifice, I have brought my daughter
Soy
here.
venezolana.
I am Venezuelan.
Con una semana de estar mi hija acá, yo la metí en un colegio acá donde no tenía profesor bilingüe.
With 1 week that my daughter
Y-
has been here, permítame. With 1 week that my daughter has been here, I enrolled her in a school where she did not have any teachers that were bilingual.
Mi hija fue muy discriminada y le hicieron muchísimo bullying
My daughter was discriminated against,
Por
and they did a
no-
lot of bullying
por no saber hablar inglés,
because she did not know how to speak English.
del cual me tocó retirarla e inscribirla en una escuela
So I had to take her out and enroll her in another school
donde hay muchos niños latinos y
where
pues
there are other students that are Latino,
ella se siente como en casa.
and she feels like she is at home now.
Y pues sería muy triste que les quiten sus profesores bilingües.
And it would be very sad if they took
Y
away
más
their bilingual
en-
teachers.
Ella sufrió lo que era no tener un profesor bilingüe.
She suffered the consequences of not having a bilingual teacher.
Y pues se los digo como madre,
And I
porque
tell
lo
you as
sufrí
a
con
mother,
ella.
lo dice como madre, perdón.
Como madre porque yo lo sufrí con ella.
Okay, and I tell you as a mother because I suffered with her as well.
Pues, no le puedo decir más nada. Muchas gracias.
That is all I can say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next name is
We are
Lupita.
Waukegan.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry. Next name is Lupita or Lupita, and I apologize, but I can't read the last name.
María Guadalupe.
María Guadalupe.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Hi, good afternoon.
Gracias por dejarme dar algunas palabras.
Thank you for letting me speak today, a few words.
Bueno, yo soy mamá de Cintia y de Fabricio.
So I am the mother of Cynthia and Fabricio.
Ellos, Cintia va en Washington
Cynthia goes to Washington,
y Fabricio va a pasar a Brookside.
and Fabricio will go to Brookside.
El programa bilingüe
The bilingual program
nos ha ayudado.
has helped us.
Digo nos ha ayudado porque también a mí ellos me ayudan.
I say that they help us because they also help me.
Y la verdad, este programa nos ha ayudado mucho porque perdón. Este programa nos ha ayudado mucho porque nosotros no sabemos inglés.
And this program has helped us a lot because we don't know how to speak English yet.
Y la verdad sí nos afectaría mucho
And really, it would affect us greatly
que nos lo quitaran.
if they took it away.
Y pido que no se haga.
And I ask that you do not take it away.
Sería todo. Muchas gracias por su atención.
That will be all. Thank you for your attention.
And thank you. Our next name on the list is Luz Granda.
Buenas noches a todos los presentes aquí. Agradezco el tiempo que nos dan para expresarnos.
Thank you to all who are present here today. I appreciate the time you give us to express ourselves.
Como hispana, creo que insultarnos unos a otros no vamos a resolver nada y no mejoramos la educación de todos los estudiantes.
As a Hispanic, if we are insulting one another, I don't think we're going to solve anything, and that's not going to better the education of our students.
Además, tengo años diciéndoles que es importante educar a los padres.
And as always, I have told you for many years that it's very important to educate.
Los padres deben de saber que todos los niños en Estados Unidos tienen igualdad de derechos en educación pública, en primaria, secundaria.
All the parents need to know that all of the students have equality rights in elementary and high school. And middle school.
Sin importar su origen, nacionalidad, ciudadanía, condición migratoria.
Without caring about their origin, citizenship, or immigration status.
Entonces, deben educar a los padres.
So you need to educate the parents.
Tenemos dos títulos, el título 1 y el título 3.
We have two titles. We have Title 1 and Title 3.
Ambos son fondos. El título 3 son fondos especialmente para los estudiantes
These funds are for students
que no hablan inglés.
that do not speak English.
Es una ley del Estado.
That is a state law.
El título 3 incluye a todos los estudiantes.
Title 3 includes all of the students.
Por favor, ustedes que están ahí y están preocupados por la educación,
Please, all of you that are there and are worried about the education,
deben de saber esto.
you should all know this.
El otro punto que tengo,
The other point that I want to make,
hoy por la mañana, como ustedes saben, enviamos un correo electrónico
this morning, like you all know, we sent an email out
en el cual hemos expresado
in which we have expressed
las cosas buenas que han pasado desde que el principal
so where we have expressed all the good things that have happened at the school
Abelira González llegó a Brookside.
ever since Avelita Gonzalez arrived at Brookside.
No queremos que un principal como Abelira Rodríguez sea cambiada.
We do not want a principal like Avelita Rodriguez to be switched.
Esta principal entiende nuestra cultura. Además, no hay razones para cambiarla.
So this principal does understand our culture and there are no reasons to switch her out.
Por favor, queremos pedirle que así como ustedes se comprometieron en los días que ustedes querían el voto de los padres,
So as you asked, so we would like to ask, just as you all did when you were
voto de los padres,
where you were trying to get the parent vote,
ustedes se comprometieron a velar por la educación de nuestros estudiantes.
you said that you were going to be compromised with our students' education,
Ahora pedimos
and now we ask
que escuchen y atiendan nuestra petición de no mover a la señora principal de Brookside.
that you listen and fulfill our request to not move the principal from Brookside.
Eso nos va a afectar. Tenemos que volver a pensar otra vez y eso no podemos.
That is going to affect us, and we will have to start all over again, and we can't do that.
Tienen que hablar y ver otra manera.
You need to talk and think of another way.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Grondin. Ray Vukovic.
I told you so. You know, you've got an item tonight, number 13C. You're going to spend over $500,000 for additional parking at the Washington campus. Now, first of all, I have to ask, how many spaces? There's no map attached to this. When did you all decide this? I come to all the committee meetings. This hasn't been discussed at a committee meeting. I've got all the agendas for the committee meetings going back a year. I don't see anything on that. I think you need a little more public transparency on this issue. I told you so. 916 Washington Street, directly across the street from the high school, 200 feet from the nearest door. This district 9 years ago spent $58,000 to tear down a building. 6 years ago, this district spent $22,000 to pave it. And nobody was using it. One of the local businesses started using it, and I brought it to the board's attention. And you guys decided to lease it to the neighboring business for like $100 a month after spending over $80,000. And I stood right here and I said, the payback on that is going to be like 70 years for this district. That's taxpayer money. We're going to talk about a bond issue tonight for $30 million, and you guys are spending this money this way? I've got my regrets. I'm sorry. That's you need to go back and revisit that lease, take that away, find out a way you can get out of that. You know, at the superintendent's suggestion, you guys have stayed away from the house program. If you went back to the house program, parking would not be an issue at Washington campus because 40% of the students would be at Brookside. I think it's because of that. A couple meetings ago, you were talking about the student population. The last 2 or 3 years, it's down. The projection for the next 2 or 3 years, it'll continue to go down. If the student population is going down, why is there a shortage of parking at Washington campus? I think you need to look at that. You need to get some incentives for people to carpool. $500,000 for parking spaces, that's a lot of money, especially when you have other alternatives. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vukovic. Next name is Elizabeth Moreo. Moreo. Yes, you can pass next to the board. Whenever you start speaking.
Okay. My name is Elizabeth Marrero, and I'm here to speak on behalf of myself and my colleagues, which I'm going to introduce them. This is Jesus Uribe and Eduardo Celis. The three of us, we are the board of directors of a not-for-profit named Juntos, which in Spanish it means together. Juntos has been granted the approval for the city of Waukegan for the Viva la Independencia parade. And I have a provided copy of the city permit. We applied since January 8th of this year, so you guys have that. Now, the purpose of this parade is to celebrate the Hispanic Heritage Month as well as the Mexican and several other Latin American countries' Independence Day. So this parade happens every year. The only difference is just a different organization doing the parade. On February 17 of this year, we did submit a waiver request. We do have the permit to allow to use the facility for the parking lots for 3 of your schools. And the reason for that is because we need it for staging, to set up the parade, the horse, and to allow free parking for visitors to come in. We are hoping to get the waiver approved because it will help us to alleviate the high cost of the parade. So last Tuesday during your board meeting, an individual who is the president of another organization stated inaccurate information about us or organization, the application, and false information about one of your board members. So I'm here to clarify that. Number one, Juntos, it is a not-for-profit registered in Waukegan. You guys can verify that. I provided copies of the Secretary of State of Illinois, and you guys could verify that. The city has already verified all this information with their attorneys. This event is not for fundraising purposes. This is a cultural celebration of the Latino community here in Waukegan. Now, this individual stated that we lied in an application, so let's take a look at that. On the question that says, will the organization be charging a fee to attend this event? Now, the way I interpret a question with attendance, attendance means, it's really different than participating. Attendance and participating is two different definitions. So let's take a look at that because I feel some individuals, they do need to be re-educated. Attendance means being present. So for example, if you go and watch a parade, you're being present, you're just watching the parade. Participating, on the other hand, it means that you're being involved in the activity, you're actually actively participating, you're walking with the flow, right? Same thing, if you go and watch a play, it's very different than being in the play or playing a soccer game, right? You have to pay that.
Thank you. And thank you for this. No worries. Next name is Eduardo, and is it Calis? Salis. Thank you, Mr. Salis.
Hola, ¿cómo están?
1 sec, so I can get 6 minutes on the clock, please. Correct. All right, go ahead, Mr. Salis.
Mi nombre es Eduardo Celis y soy parte de la mesa directiva de Juntos.
And I'm part of the board of directors for Juntos.
Voy a dividir este speech en dos.
I'm going to divide the speech in two.
Primero voy a hablarle a la mesa directiva.
First, I will speak to the board members.
Quiero agradecerles
I would like to thank you
por la oportunidad de dejar usar las instalaciones de las escuelas.
for allowing us to use the school facilities.
Yo fui un estudiante de la Waukegan High School
I was a student of Waukegan High School,
y amo las escuelas.
and I love the schools.
Ahora, como dirigente del desfile,
Now, as I am one of the main individuals for the parade,
es un placer servir a la comunidad.
it is a pleasure to serve the community.
Además, quiero pedir
I would also like to ask
que aprueben
that you approve
la petición
the request
de usar
to use
las instalaciones
the facilities
sin ningún costo,
without a cost.
ya que la participación de los estudiantes
Now that the student participation
será gratis.
will be free.
Ahora voy a
Now,
hablarle a la comunidad.
I will talk to the community.
Quiero invitar
I would like to invite you
a toda la comunidad
to all the community
ser parte
to be a part of
de este desfile 2024.
part of this parade.
Como
2024.
dice nuestro logo,
Like our logo says,
somos juntos,
we are together,
juntos somos más fuertes.
and together we are more stronger.
No nada más es un eslogan,
It's not just a logo,
sino es
but it also is
la unión
the unity
de todas las organizaciones
of all of the organizations
que por mucho tiempo
that for a long time
han sido divididas
have always been divided
por personas
by individuals
que solo buscan
that only
sus bienes económicos.
or look for their own economic
Por eso queremos decir
That is why we would like to say
a toda la comunidad,
to all the community
invitar a todas las culturas,
to invite all the cultures,
no solo los latinos,
not only the Latinos,
sino los afroamericanos,
but also the African,
los griegos,
the Greeks,
los polacos.
the Polish.
Todo el mundo está invitado a esta celebración,
Is invited to this celebration.
porque como lo digo,
Because as I said,
juntos somos más fuertes.
together we're more stronger.
Y también quiero aclarar
And I would also like to clarify
que no hagan caso
that do not listen to
los rumores de algunas personas
do not listen to the rumors of some individuals
que solo buscan
that only find or look to
desacribillar, que buscan
that only look to
el trabajo fuerte
and the hard work
de personas
of individuals
que lo hacemos de corazón.
that we are doing it from
Nosotros hemos hecho el desfile en Kenosha
We have done the parade in Kenosha
y siempre ha sido un éxito.
and it has always been a success.
Tenemos el apoyo
We have the
del
support
gobierno
of the government
de Kenosha.
of Kenosha.
Este año también tenemos el apoyo
And this year we also do have the support
de una de las
of one of the
iglesias más
churches
fuertes del condado de Kenosha.
Of one of the churches, the stronger churches in Kenosha.
Eso habla mejor de nosotros.
That speaks very well of us.
Si ustedes ven nuestro récord,
If you look at our record,
tenemos 0 de demandas.
we have 0 lawsuits.
Tenemos 0 de complaints.
We have 0 complaints.
Estamos limpios.
We are clean.
Eso nos ayuda
That helps us
a unir a la comunidad.
to unite the community.
Y queremos que este desfile del 15 de septiembre
And we would like this parade on June 15
marque
that it marks.
September.
el 15 de septiembre,
Oh, I'm sorry. September 15.
marque la diferencia
That it marks the difference
entre la comunidad latina.
between the Latino community.
Queremos hacer historia.
We would like to make history.
Y me voy a tomar el atrevimiento
And I'm going to risk
de invitar a cada uno de
to
ustedes
invite all of you
ser parte de esta comunidad.
to be a part of this community.
Porque juntos
Because together
somos más fuertes.
we are stronger.
Thank you. Next name is Angela Ramirez.
Esteemed board members, superintendent, Waukegan Public School admin, staff, and community members. Personal opinions and political views aside, we must deal with the changing dynamics within our district. We are paying out more than $250,000 for DEI work. That's diversity, equity, and inclusion. That includes the director of DEI, consultants for DEIs, managers for the DEI department, et cetera, et cetera. That department determined that $350,000 was needed for the African American Male Initiative, all voted and already approved by y'all. All this is very much needed, and I'm not arguing the need or the reasons for it, but that's over $600,000 that this board voted for. What I am confused about and why I'm here today is why so many questions on $150,000 that's allocated by the state and mandated by federal law to serve a DEI need in our community. It seems that those DEI individuals we hired need to sit with you guys, the board members, to help you understand that services to newcomers and migrant populations is DEI work. And that work is something that you guys voted to uphold. As a community member, my personal opinions do not transplant the law, and they do not, or its equal protection under it to all of our students. DEI work is much more than the black and white lines that we want to draw in WPS. Thank you for the African American Male Initiative in this district. As a district, I please beg you to celebrate Black excellence. But additionally, I thank you for the LGBTQ2 proclamation because it protects our children and it follows the law. Additionally, I hope that we can be transparent about leadership changes. Replacing the current principal as Brookside is surprising, as we all have grown to love her in that position. I honor if it's a personal request for change, but I would still hope that as a parent and a community member, this district gives us more than finding out stuff on board docs. lack of transparency and timely communication from this district has been a great source of frustration for your parent stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ramirez. Next name, Rayon Edwards.
Good evening, everybody. I waited a long time to speak tonight. I'm saddened and I'm heartened. Many times I've been in this building, I've been in meetings. I've gotten loud because of my passion. I was looked at different. Tonight, you guys passed a proclamation for the LGBT community. I'm part of that community. But tonight I watch a pastor call me a slur downstairs. And I wonder how I came back upstairs and she's sitting in the seat. Tonight this woman brought kids with her. I did the responsible thing today. I got up and I walked out to get away, because that's what's called de-escalation. She went the other way, seen me come down the stairs, and your staff witnessed it. And I'm asking tonight, this is why we get so upset. Because when people like me do something, there's always accountability. Always. I've never seen there not be accountability. 10 years ago, you'd have seen a different side of me. But I have grown up. I have. And I'm proud of me if ain't nobody else is. But I want to make this very clear to everybody in this community. What I don't do as a man and as a human, I don't run from what I've been through. It's my story, and I can tell it better than anybody. And attacking me with it don't give you Fruit Loops. It don't give you kudos. It does not shame me, and it ain't gonna quiet me. What I speak about and who I speak for is people I love. It's people I've been loving all my life. I don't just talk, I walk that talk. Come see me Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. I work tirelessly. And I know a lot of y'all don't always agree with my delivery. We all have that opportunity to deliver a message. And how you choose to deliver it, that's you. And how I choose, that's me. But I'm not going to be silent. And so what I say tonight is, it's not that I was against the proclamation, because I'm a part of a community. But what I want to see is us treating everybody equally. And when we're talking about that, we're talking about babies. And I think about these mothers who have different beliefs than me. And when we are imposing on their beliefs, it's wrong. As somebody that represents this community, I got nieces and nephews, 15 of them, under the age of 8. And I am very protective of them with my lifestyle. So including those parents is very important, because they matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. Randy Sabecki.
Good evening. I just want to say a couple things. One, Mr. Ewing, you didn't call for a roll call when Ms. Hannah and Ms. Lenzen showed up late. Just want to let you know that. Second thing I want to talk about is you guys passed policy earlier this year. We talk about we're going to treat each other fairly, equally. Everyone's going to have difference of opinions. And what we seen at the last board meeting was just sickening. Each other attacking each other. There's no sidebar conversations, but yet every board meeting we watch, everybody have sidebar conversations up here when other people are talking. We're constantly attacking one person all the time, asking for a vote when she's trying to get something in, and then when we thought it was her, and Mr. Riddle, this was you thought it was her, and it was actually Ms. Lenzen saying something, then you took your vote back and let Ms. Lenzen continue. It's just wrong. If we're going to do policy, you guys are all going to agree to it, then maybe you guys should follow that policy. Like you said, all the kids watch. Community watches these meetings. Next thing I want to touch on is the parking lot. $500,000 at Washington to add onto that parking lot. We can't even take care of the parking lots we have. So we want to add another parking lot? There's a lot of parking lots in our district that are in poor shape that we should use that $500,000 for to fix first. And then, after that last meeting, I want to ask for an independent investigation. I want to ask for ethics violation investigation. After that last meeting, when 3 board members left early, some of the board members met with our superintendent at a bar here in Waukegan. What was that meeting for? So I would like to ask for an investigation, and I would like to file a complaint for an investigation. Because it's just a coincidence after that meeting when that happened, board members left, but then we still met up at a bar. So I'm asking for an investigation. That's all I have tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Sabecki. Final name is Miguel Fabian.
Hello, I just want to make sure this works. Okay, good. When the time starts?
It'll start when you start speaking.
Okay, perfect. Hi, my name is Miguel Angelo Fabian Sauceda. I am an alumni of Waukegan High School and a future teacher for this amazing district. Firstly, thank you, board, for listening to my words. I would like to start by congratulating the 2 new student board members. As an alumni of a JROTC program myself, I know you 2 will serve your community and this board well. I'm also very proud of Victor from his past service for spearheading the LGBTQIA proclamation. It is amazing to see this proclamation, especially as someone who is a part of the non-binary community themselves, and someone who has helped with the gender-neutral bathroom policy when I attended Waukegan High School. I hope that each board member finds it in themselves to support this proclamation. And that's all. I wanted to end on a positive note. Thank you for listening to my words.
Thank you. This concludes our public comment. If we can get the agenda back up on the screen. I do want to go back to board president time, which I reserved the balance of, and I just have a couple statements. So it's unfortunate that community members were not able to stay to hear my statement. It's important to clarify that no one has suggested eliminating bilingual education in Waukegan. We remain fully committed to educating all students eligible for these programs as mandated by law. Moreover, we value and strive to promote unity between our Black and brown communities. This unity is vital for the strength and progress of Waukegan. We apologize for any confusion or distress caused by false narratives that have been circulated. These narratives appear to be attempts to further sow disunity amongst our groups. Let us continue to work together, fostering mutual respect and collaboration for the betterment of all residents in Waukegan. We will support our Black Male Achievement Initiative. We will continue to support bilingual education. Those are the facts. I hate that tonight's meeting and last week's meeting, or 2 weeks ago, devolved to the point that they have. I continue to encourage us to rise to the occasion. We're role models. We have students that are here that watch us. We have staff members that are here that watch us. And the way that we communicate with one another, the way that we communicate to the community is being watched. Many people have gotten to that podium, some tonight, and chastised my leadership. That's their right. And then I have the right to clarify and defend my record. But we have to do so in a respectful manner, and we have to do so in a way that we still remember that our goal is to support the students of Waukegan. And so I appreciate all the comments that were spoken with tonight. I appreciate all of those community members that came out tonight. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit disappointed, and I'd be further lying if I said that I was I wasn't frustrated. We talk about all of the things that we need to do and have to do as a district. We talk about putting kids first, and we spend so much time infighting with one another that we rarely see progress. And so, to our student board members, I again welcome you, and I want you to, and a lot of times we have a lot to learn from our students, is because they can disagree without being disagreeable. And so I appreciate those who spoke, but I do want to make sure that when we are speaking from every side, every opinion, it's all valid, that we aren't further seeking to sow dissension. And so I have to very clearly state that we are not doing anything to bilingual education, and we will continue to support our newcomers, and we will continue to support our Black Male Achievement Initiative, and those things are not in competition with one another. All right, with that, I would like to continue with our agenda. We have our consent agenda items A through, what's the final letter? I can't see it. P. Are there any letters that any board members would like to vote on separately? No?
One moment.
I'm just waiting for Ms. Fabian. She has a couple. Good. So can I have a motion to approve items A through P?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Lindsay, second by Mr. Riddle. Any comments or questions on the motion? Roll call.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah? Ms. Lansing?
Yes.
President Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. We got item 11A, approved renewal of Mitel support agreement, WPS 60 phone system. B, approved renewal of Power School, WPS60.org website and school messenger. C, approved renewal of Panorama Education SEL screener. D, approved renewal of Jocelyn Center Partnership for Social and Emotional Supports. E, approved renewal of M-Class intervention for grades K through 5. F, approval of iReady for literacy and math intervention for grades 6 through 8. G, approve of learning partners for comprehensive schools. H, approve renewal of One Goal Leadership Network Partnership for 24-25 school year. I, approve renewal of Elevate K through 12 for 24 through 25 school year. J, approval of Sunbelt staffing contract. K, approval of Care Staff Partners contract. L, attendance at the Innovative Schools Conference listed there. M, ESL materials for 6th through 8th grade. N, attendance at Visible Learning Conference. O, approval of C&J Food Truck Vendor for 24-25 Back to School Resource Fair. And P, approve renewal of Equity and Education Partners Contract 24-25 school year. We're now at the consent agenda for operations. Are there any items that any board members would like to have voted on separately? If not, I'd like a motion to approve items 12A through F.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, seconded by Ms. Gonzalez. Any comments or questions on the motion?
I
Go
have
ahead, Ms.
a,
Lindsay.
sorry, I have a question. So on A,
Mm-hmm.
there is a comment regarding revisions to the attached list will be presented to the Board of Education for approval. What sort of additions, deletions, or corrections are we anticipating? Why do we have that caveat there?
Ms. Polk?
Board President, board members, community, staff. We put that statement there as a standard statement because throughout the time before we get the budget adopted, there's new contracts that might come up. And so we want to have a provision in there to include those.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah? Ms. Lansing?
Yes.
President Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries, and I'll read those. 12A, approval of FY 24-25 continuing resolution authority. B, approval of payment for annual testing and inspections of fire alarms and sprinklers. C, approval for Access 411 comprehensive attendance administration and security system. D, FY 25 supplies. E, approval of new gym floor, Robbie M. Lightfoot. F, approval of Network Technology Innovations Yearly Service Level Agreement. We now have purchases and contracts. So item 13A, renewal of Ombudsman Plus contract.
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent or her designee to approve the renewal of Ombudsman Plus contract for $1,844,070 over the 3 years.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Riddle.
Second.
Second by Ms. Gonzalez. Any comments or questions on the motion? My only comment, and I'll keep it brief, is we've expressed in the committee meeting our anticipation is if we're approving 30 slots that we make sure that we use the 30 slots or approach Ombudsman to renegotiate at some time. So thank you. I see
Noted.
you, Dr. Bubblets. Just thank you. We got it. Yep.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
in addition, we were looking to also look to fill those.
The 30 slots.
Yes.
Yeah, so our priority is to fill them.
Perfect,
If for any
okay.
reason we can't, we want to be able to go back to them.
Sorry if I missed that.
No,
Thank
no
you.
worries.
Yep.
Do we
Roll
want to
call.
attach that to the
Mr.
item or
McBride.
not? Maybe that's a Kathy question.
No, I mean,
Legal?
is the recommendation, we have a recommendation, a motion as read. If you'd like to,
Amend.
again, I think is noted.
It's noted in the record.
Because the contract is,
Okay.
that's what Ken's concern is.
Yeah,
We
it-
agree to the language.
Typically, if both parties agree to changes in the contract, then it can move forward, and there's typically a clause in there to that effect.
Okay.
But I don't have that direct knowledge of these contracts at this time.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right.
Yeah. Roll call.
Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Fabian.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah. Ms. Lensing.
Yes.
President Ewing.
Yes, item approved, motion carries. 13B, emergency transportation contract with Lakeside Transportation Diverse Learner Summer Program.
It is recommended that the Board of Education authorize an emergency transportation contract with Lakeside Transportation to support transporting diverse learner students for the remainder of this summer program effective July 2nd, 2024 through the end of August 2024.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Riddle.
I second as well.
Second by Ms. Gonzalez. Any comments, questions on the motion?
Just to
Okay, go
just
ahead.
to clarify that this was an emergency contract that we needed to that we needed to uphold to serve our DL students get to and from where they need to go.
For summer services, correct.
Right.
Roll call.
Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Fabian.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah. Ms. Lensing.
Yes.
President Ewing.
Yes, item approved, motion carries. Item 13C, approval of bid Waukegan High School, Washington Campus, East Parking Lot expansion.
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent to accept the lowest responsive bid for Waukegan High School, Washington Campus, East Parking Lot expansion from Manville Construction 28090 with West Concrete Drive, Ingleside, Illinois 60041 at a cost of $420,775. An engineering fee payable to IMEG, a project contingency of 10% of construction costs for a total project budget not to exceed $511,880.35.
Do we have a motion?
Second.
I said, do we have a motion?
Oh, I motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Gonzalez.
Second.
Second by Ms. Fabian. Any comments or questions on the motion?
Question.
Ms. Lindsay?
So within this slide, we see that it's budgeted. Can we get the confirmation on when that was budgeted, just for transparency purposes?
Mr. Moulton?
Good evening, members of the board, staff, community, superintendent. This agenda item was presented as an anticipated project for FY 24-25 at the February OSC meeting. It was also identified at the June 4th budget workshop as a potential project we wanted to pursue.
Okay, and then, Mr. Moten, do you mind commenting on the faith that this is a project well worth given the public comment received? Essentially, there have been decisions made in the past that may not have worked to our advantage. So can you just provide more context as to why this is the best move for the district?
Sure. So currently, this project has identified 55 parking spaces to help support the school in its current function, as well as additional drop-off options for the school, as has been identified and recommended by the safety department and also discussed at the safety committee to remove some of the foot traffic and the vehicle traffic off of Jackson, which has been a concern by school staff as well as local residents. So based on how the school is being utilized at this time and the support needed for the amount of students and staff there, we believe this is a very important project that needs to take place for those two reasons: additional parking as well as relocating some of the arrival, dismissal, drop-off, pickup options for the school.
And then just to add to that, Mr. Moten, we also had Alderman Victor Felix come and talk and advocate for it as well. So that's a benefit. With these 55 spots, do we anticipate it's primarily going to serve staff? Do we believe it's primarily going to serve students? And even if there was a potential, because I know houses were mentioned, and there's been a strong push for the community to have all 4 grade levels at the buildings. If in the future that decision was made, would this choice today be irrelevant or still support at spaced out parking on student needs? Hopefully that made sense.
Sure. So I believe it would still be relevant. Primary use could be multi-use right now, but we have identified staff, adult, visitor needs within the building for additional parking as permanent fixed parking. But again, as I mentioned, drop-off, pickup options off of the main streets is also critical for this, and this plan provides enough space for both parking as well as vehicle traffic in both directions for drop-off and pickup. And that need is, it is a large building, so staff and student occupancy, if it's majority used, this need will continue to be there and it will be utilized for those purposes. I also would like to share with the board, even though this is not the primary reason for this project, we do host a lot of events in that field, and this is an additional pave area that could support those efforts as well.
Thank you.
You got a question? Go ahead, Mr. Riddle.
Yes. Can you refresh my memory? Where exactly is this parking lot going?
Yeah, so this would be the east side of the property.
Right.
Where the field is, we did
where the
put
resource
some,
fair is held?
Where the resource fair is held, yes.
And so
right
where,
by the,
it's just expanding that lot that's there, or where is it going?
So this is going to create, so the entrance to the current lot, this would run perpendicular to that with a entry point and exit point on either sides of the cafeteria.
No exit or entrance to Washington Street?
Not direct to Washington Street, but it would be near the exit that currently exists by the cafeteria at Washington Street.
Mr. Moten, just to clarify even further, because you just said that, and what's going to happen to that? Isn't there a drop-off zone there?
For the buses?
For the for the buses and for like utility trucks to drop off materials or food?
Yes, so it'll run parallel to that and perpendicular to the current lot. So we're not going to occupy the current location that exists now, the small thoroughfare there for maintenance vehicles, deliveries for the cafeteria. This would run next to that. So we would be occupying the current field space on the other side of the fence.
And it won't impact plans for the future outdoor classroom?
It will not. This is in a different physical location on the property.
Thank you. And my only question, and we talked to it, so it is a significant expense, but this was recommended through the safety assessment.
It was, as well as reviewed with the safety committee, and as Ms. Linsing mentioned, we did hear from the aldermen as well as neighbors within the local area.
Ms. Fabian.
I just want to add a comment as a parent that has to drop off kids at that campus. I think this is a great idea. We see a lot that unfortunately our own parents don't follow that drop-off routine, and there have been several incidences where there could have been some very catastrophic accidents, and I think safety is always our priority, but in this instance, especially when you're talking about two major roads and having your kid cross that road or stopping in the middle of the road and hoping that traffic stops behind you, we really do need a more efficient drop-off pickup area. So I thank you for listening to the recommendations of the safety staff to be able to better serve our students and ensure that they're getting into class in and out safely.
Mr. Riddle.
One last question here. Since there's talk about that Washington campus somewhere down the line as being maybe taken down and either put somewhere else or rebuilt, has that plan, if this was still a parking lot, would that still be use? I mean, has that been considered as to, because I'm just curious, you don't want to put in a new parking lot and 5 years down the road end up moving the building or taking the building down and putting an addition to our Brookside campus. I guess I don't know enough about this.
So I would tell you no, Mr. Riddle. As a result, that would take a referendum, et cetera, when we're talking about a possible new high school, getting the students involved. Do you want to add more to that?
No, you clarified. This is needed now. That is a significant long-term, would be a significant long-term item in the very distant future. But we have current needs now, and we believe it's appropriate for this recommendation based on our current needs.
Can I ask one more question? Did this come out of our meeting with the mayor and her police department on how we could work together to alleviate some of the traffic at Brookside? Because I know you and I, Washington, you and I attended a meeting there. So is this one of the components that came out of it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so I agree. I have to. So the sentiments of Mr. Vukovic, right? And I also agree with some of Mr. Riddle. I'm going to support this. I'm not going to lie about that. I think it's not the I told you so. I won't go the Mr. Vukovic route, but you all remember when I was a brand new board member and we made the decision and everybody was talking about how it's going to benefit students, and Brandon's only question was, what about parking? And so, it's sometimes one of those things that we don't consider. Again, I supported the lease with that other business, but I think that was because we were told we didn't have a need for those parking spaces, right? And so those are the points all right, cool, we don't have a need, now we're spending $500,000 because we do. And I don't know, Mr. Vukovic, you keep me honest, is it 10 spaces, 20 spaces that we would have been able to get out of that other parking lot? So we may still be needing it, but it helps with the community when they see, even what Mr. Riddle is saying, is I do know that I'm pushing for a new high school. Is it a pipe dream? Is it whatever? I don't know. But we're making decisions that's $500,000 towards a $124 million bill. So I'm hoping that we keep those things in mind. So I will support this today. I think we have to make it happen. But I do have to agree that I want us to be conscious about those things and decisions. How something like how we utilize those buildings, right, impact some of these other things, because we spent all the money on the Brookside and that parking lot is typically 30 to 50% full on most days, but it does have the drop off now. It's nice, traffic flows when parents follow it, like Ms. Fabian says. So if we can do the same thing at Washington, I do think that's safer. So I'll be supporting it. Roll call.
Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Fabian.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Mr. Riddle.
I'm going to pass on it because I don't feel like I've done enough research on this. Thank you.
Ms. Lensing.
Yes, with similar sentiments as Board President Ewing.
President Ewing.
Yes, item approved, motion carries. Now we have item 14A, approval of the non-union personnel cost of living raises for FY 24-25.
It is the recommendation that the Board of Education approve the recommendation of the administration to give a 4% cost of living pay raise for non-union staff with a value of approximately $842,962.93, effective July 1st, 2024.
I motion to approve the recommendation.
Motion by Ms. Gonzalez,
Second.
second by Mr. Riddle. Any comments or questions on the motion? All I'll say is the raises that we've given this year are listed there below. We've seen significant jumps in our other groups, teachers and union staff members. So I will support the 4% and do so happily. Roll call.
Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Fabian.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Lensing.
Yes.
President Ewing.
Yes, item approved, motion carries. We have item B, personnel action items for 6/25/24.
I have,
Before we jump in.
before we jump in, we stated that we were waiting on some more
We have to
information.
read the motion or
before
superintendent that
we go
we didn't get the
The information requested.
the information was not emailed to the board, so if we can ask for a motion excluding that one individual. He hasn't sent it, so even if we did, we.
Okay, so this one, right?
Yep.
How do I say that? I can't see his name.
No.
So how do I say? Yeah. 2, 3, 4 down. Okay. So. Gotta take that.
All right, go ahead, Superintendent, read the recommended action.
It is the recommendation of the Board of Education to accept the administration's recommendation to approve the appointments, retirements, retirement extension, and accept the resignations as found on schedules F1002, L949, and G660. With the position of the interim director of maintenance and operation on the administration schedule F1002 will be posted by December 30th.
In holding, holding.
And holding on personnel scheduled F1002, the fourth line down,
Pending additional information.
pending additional information.
Okay, and that's the one.
Mr. Figueroa, the board still has not received the question in closed session, so if you could please get that to the board this evening.
Okay, motion to approve as recommended by the superintendent as amended.
Motion by Mr. Riddle.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Gonzalez. I will say is that I do believe we heard from Ms. Granda and others. We've received emails. So just a statement on rationale for some of the changes within reason.
Excuse me. Yes, so as we see on our personnel schedules today, we have a number of moving parts within the district of people moving from one position to another. So unexpected transitions in staffing often require us to make difficult decisions. In this situation, we are very fortunate to have a number of talented and knowledgeable administrators who have familiarity with our schools and the community, and who we are able to transition into these positions. I know these men and women will take on their new roles with great enthusiasm and a mindset of improving outcomes for our students, just as they have in their past roles within District 60. In the upcoming days and weeks, these leaders will be reaching out to their school communities and will make every effort to further familiarize themselves with our students, teachers, staff, and parents. I am confident that these moves are in the best interest of our students, schools, and classrooms, and I look forward to the future success at these school buildings and the individuals that will be leading in these new roles. So as a result, the board will be taking a vote this evening on a number of positions that we will be having internal candidates moving from one building to another. They will be making contact with staff in a formalized letter once the vote goes through this evening, is what I'm told, and will be setting up opportunities to meet with students, to meet with staff, to have focus groups to hear what is working, what you feel needs to be worked on, so that the leadership within the building is a shared leadership, and that we are addressing concerns or reinforcing all the strengths that the building personnel have already ongoing within the buildings. So I have full confidence that these individuals will do an amazing job in their new roles as they transition within the district. And I'm more grateful that we have what we call a bench in athletic terms. It's one thing the board had asked when we were constantly looking outside for new recruits, to actually create a bench of potential leaders within our district, from the principal, the assistant principals, coordinators, and directors. And so all these transitions are internals, and they're just moving pieces within the district. All of them will be staying within the district and serving the students of District 60, just in different formats.
So I have a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments? Roll call.
Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Fabian.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Lensing.
I'm going to pass in this instance for the reasons disclosed in closed session.
President Ewing.
Yes, item approved, motion carries. We do have some administrative appointments.
At this time, I'd like to introduce Alberto Centeno, who previously served as a Spanish teacher at St. Augustine Preparatory Academy. He will now serve as a culture and climate specialist at the Brookside campus with a starting salary of $55,000. Congratulations, Mr. Centeno. Mr. Alajakis, can you hold the one appointment that we held so we're not projecting? Thank you. Our next appointee is Kamara Thaxter. I hope I said that right. Did I say that right? Kamara Thaxter. Sorry, Kamara. Give me 1 minute to find that. Who previously served as an instructional coach at right down the street, Zion Elementary. She will now Zion Elementary. She will now serve as the assistant principal at Oakdale Elementary with a starting salary of $74,500. Congratulations, Ms. Thaxter.
Waukegan alum.
Waukegan alum, yes.
And best class to come out of Waukegan.
Congratulations.
Congratulations and welcome back.
I feel the shade from here, best class.
I was looking at you and Adrian.
Wait, what?
Welcome home.
2010 versus
the glory.
That was 2014.
Sorry, go ahead.
Our next appointee is Julie Petcorbaro. Did I pronounce that right? Who previously served as an assistant principal at Diamond Lake School District 76. She will now serve as the academic chair of English at the Washington campus with a starting salary of $90,000. Congratulations, Ms. Petcorbaro. I hope I pronounced that right. Our next appointee is Mr. Tim Briner, who's also an alumni, who previously served as the interim director of logistics and compliance here at Lincoln Center. He will now serve as the interim director of maintenance and operations at Lincoln Center with the starting salary of $140,400. Congratulations, Mr. Briner.
I would say the Raiders are better.
Congratulations.
Now I'm really going to get into it.
Congratulations. You were a Raider, weren't you?
Our next appointee is Ms. Flor Carter, who's also an alumni. Can I get all these alumni to stand up? That's exciting. Who's also an alumni.
Yeah, right.
Congratulations. She was previously the principal at AOEC. She will now serve as the principal of Robert Abbott Middle School with the retirement of Carl Hagman And thank you, Mr. Hagman, for all you have done for Waukegan Public Schools with a starting salary of $129,467.65. Congratulations, Ms. Carter. We can't wait for the great work you will do at Abbott. Our next appointee is Ms. Avalera Rodriguez Gonzalez, who previously served as the Brookside campus principal. She will now serve as the principal of AOEC with the starting salary of $133,120. Congratulations, Ms. Rodriguez Gonzalez. Our next appointee is Mr. Eric W. Hamilton, who previously served as an assistant principal at the Washington campus. He will now serve as the co-principal interim at the Brookside campus with a starting salary of $140,000. Congratulations, Mr. Hamilton.
All right, thank you to all of our appointments and those who are staying with our district but in different capacities. We are full steam ahead getting ready for next year, so congrats. Next up, we have, can I take those items together? Never mind. Nah, it's fine. 17A, ratification of the second processing of June 2024 board bills, manual check request payments, and Old National Bank insurance payments for the period of June 5th, 2024 through June 18th, 2024.
It is a recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education ratify the second June 2024 processing of board bills, manual check request payments, and Old National Bank insurance payments for the period of June 5th, 2024 through June 18th, 2024. The accounts payable board payments for the period of June 5th, 2024 through June 18th, 2024 total $3,320,426.60. The manual check request payments for the period of June 5th, 2024 through June 18th, 2024 total $1,927,508.47. The Old National Bank insurance payments for the period of June 5th, 2024 through June 18th, 2024 totals $0.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any comments, questions on the motion? Roll call.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Ms. Lensing?
I'm going to pass. I did not have time to thoroughly look at it, so I don't feel comfortable.
President Ewing?
Yes, items approved, motion carries. Item B, consideration of the resolution providing for the issue of not to exceed the bond, not to exceed 30,000 of working cash fund bonds of the district, providing for the levy of taxes, 30 million, I'm sorry. Item 17B, consideration of a resolution providing for the issue of not to exceed 30 million of working cash fund bonds of the district, providing for the levy of taxes to pay the bonds and authorizing the sale of the bonds to the purchaser thereof. If you can read the recommended action.
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education would consider the adoption of a resolution providing the insurance of not to exceed 30 million of working cash fund bonds of the district, providing for the levy of taxes to pay the bonds and authorizing the sale of the bonds to the purchaser thereof.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Riddle.
Second.
Second by Ms. Gonzalez. Any comments or questions on the motion?
I just have two quick questions.
Go ahead, Ms. Lindsay.
So the attachment doesn't have any signatures. Is that because we have to vote first and then signatures follow?
Yes.
Perfect. And then the second is that it's not to exceed 30 million, but we have explicitly the 29.5. Can we just provide context around that?
Yes. Again, board president, board members, community members, and colleagues, we have esteemed guests here tonight, our bond counsel, Kai Harding, and also our financial advisor, Elizabeth Hennessy, who can provide additional context to what we're doing.
Oh, you know, can we just very specifically that question? The difference between it's up to 30 million, but the number. I apologize. You guys did a very thorough job. I think we know what's happening, but just if we could clarify that point, Ms.
Yes.
Holt.
We, instead of doing the 30 million, we wanted to reduce it to 29.5 because we wanted to not levy as much taxes.
Okay.
Because we could have went up to the 30 million. But it's our desire to do the 29.5. And then I kind of wanted Elizabeth and also Kai to come up because we're going to do 2 bond actions, and that's for a reason.
Yeah.
Right?
Good evening, Board of Education. Elizabeth Hennessy with Raymond James. Thanks for having me tonight. To expound on what Gwen was mentioning, the resolution authorizes up to 30 million. The intent is to issue 29.5 million, but we're going to do it in 2 issues. The first to be sold, if all goes well, tomorrow for 14,750,000 of the proceeds, and then the second issue would be issued in January of 2025, separating the bonds into 2 separate calendar years. There's 2 reasons for this. Number 1, to match the proposed expenditures that's set forth in the capital facility plan. And then secondly, when you issue less than 15 million, you're not restricted on the ability to earn interest in short-term investments. So that will help maximize the district's proceeds to put more into your capital plan.
Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Are you the 2 that say we can't divest from Chevron? Just kidding. One question.
I love it though.
I knew it was coming.
One question that I had was, it escaped me now. It's not necessarily for you both or Ms. Polk, but I've been saying to have a running list of what we use that fund for, because I think our community needs to see everything that we upgrade in the house, right? Using that money and the lifespan of those investments. Because when we have to wait for that to actually materialize, it can seem forever, and we knew that we take that action now, right? But we might not see the fruit of that in several years from now. So that was just going to be my suggestion.
We actually have a list, and Elizabeth has that. We were required to put that information together when we presented to Standards & Poor's. And so we presented at Budget Workshop 1.
Yes.
So that's the preliminary list is subject to change based upon priorities, but we're going to have that information readily available for the board to review. And if there are any changes, as we present the budget in Budget Workshop 2, we'll certainly present that to the Board of Education for their awareness.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Roll call. Oh, sorry, Ms. Fabian, you had a question?
No,
Oh, sorry.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah? Ms. Lenzing?
Yes.
President Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. We're going down to superintendent's report. Item 18C, we held one from last week, so I want to make sure that we get to that. I know the hour is late, but it's important.
Yes, at this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Figueroa to come to the podium and to give us a recruitment update. This presentation was going to be presented at Student Achievement this previous Tuesday, but because of time, we stated that we would present it during our meeting this evening, and Mr. Figueroa would be available to answer any questions that the board, and I believe you said the public may have, right?
Correct.
So thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Figueroa.
Good evening, members of the board, superintendent, and public. We have a recruitment update for you, hopefully a quick one. We're going to start with our international recruitment to date, and I want to highlight that as of May of this year, we have around 160 teachers are working in Waukegan Public Schools. That's roughly over 10% of our teacher body. During the summer, we hope that we're going to receive around 50 teachers, and I'm being very conservative with the number. might be higher. And by August 2024, I hope to have around 210 teachers working in Waukegan. That will certainly meet and surpass our 20% of all recruitment. So you can, I don't know, I think you should celebrate, because these are teachers who are servicing our students. They're all certified under ISB. So it is a great contribution to the future of our students, most specifically in shortage areas such as diverse learners, math, science, and bilingual. And we also have other recruitment efforts, obviously, and we have some equity initiative here that's spearheaded by Ms. Yvonne Fulton, who is our readiness coordinator, and Ms. Carol May, who is our principal in one of our elementary schools, and they have been visiting and in contact with historically Black colleges and universities. Some of the universities are listed there. There are others, Chicago State, and other efforts that we're trying to make in that area. So some of our recruitment efforts also have is the participation of many job fairs, the most important around here, which is the Lake County Job Fair that I have the pleasure of attending. We also have Resource Center, the Regional Office of Education. We have even Marquette University, and we also have a mailing effort where we send some flyers with a QR code to all those areas, universities that have an educational college, so the students at least can see a sign, sturdy type of paper here that they can post in a bulletin board, and they can at least know about Waukegan Public School as a potential employer. We're working on teacher retention, and right now we just unveiled certain videos for addressing teacher retention, specifically teacher retention. These videos are, two of them combined goes for 1 hour of training, and it's not a video that they can come and see in HR or anything like that. It's in the professional development website that we have with Frontline. So the individuals who have been selected, they have to log in, they have to watch the video, and an electronic copy and documentation of their participation and training is in the system. This will be a yearly training, specifically at the start of every school year. As I say, we already went, because it's teacher specific, we're addressing this to principals and assistant principal. Then we have strategic recruitment planning, and we have certain target areas. These are gross numbers of vacancies in the district. As you can see, bilingual education, regular ed, diverse learners are our top vacancies in terms of instructional areas. I will say that these numbers are not fully accurate, as we already have some individuals in the pipeline to be onboarded, but they still have not completed the procedure. Therefore, we're still listing the vacancies, and at the present time, we have approximately 40 of those professionals. In addition, it doesn't take any of the teachers that we're recruiting internationally. So I need to give them some time to make sure that they're going to arrive at O'Hare Airport, pick them up, and make sure that I can onboard them. So I'm being cautious at this time, but we keep posting the positions at vacant, because we want to attract as much as we can. And even if sometime Waukegan is not their first choice, it gives visibility to Waukegan Public School as a large educational employer. We also have a plan. We have targeted numbers of hires. This is a plan that we are developing at this time with the actual number of hires, so we can compare what is the number of vacancies, how many we were able to recruit, and we're going to have quarterly reviews of our milestones, if we have met any of those goals, and consideration to the budget and our recruitment budget. We try to attract to Waukegan Public Schools. In order to enhance that, we're going to have a general calendar of recruitment events, It's not just what HR is going to do in terms of visiting this job fair or communicating with someone. We also are going to have, as much as possible, we're going to have district events, and in those district events, we're going to try to have recruitment representation. That doesn't mean it's necessarily HR staff, but it might be principals, others. It might be operations trying to recruit some individuals for the maintenance department, but we're going to try to provide more visibility and put a little bit more effort in that area. And this calendar will be published. Our managers, hiring managers' responsibilities, they will have to have some monthly check-in and follow-up with new people just to make sure how they are doing, because you will remember that some of our exit survey in the past have indicated that sometimes the leader, some people leave because they don't want to work with particular leaders, so we want to create an environment where the leaders are in contact with the people that we recruit in order to try to at least facilitate that communication and increase our retention. They will have to implement a satisfactory survey also with our staff and see how things are going. And other initiative of your interest, I think the anti-bias training has been out for some time. I heard some concern that it was short, 15 minutes. We'll see how we can enhance that. It is required for our hiring managers on it's a yearly training, so now at the, once again, on a yearly basis, they will have to take this training. We will see how we can enhance this training. And I would like to say that this goes to one of our district strategic plans, which is standardize the procedure for our hiring managers in order to safeguard against bias. We will have an exit survey that we already implemented in HR, and we're hitting anyone who was separated from employment, retirees, resignations, whatever the cause. We're going to use their personal emails, not their cellular numbers. Let's see if that works better. I think people see a long message on their texting, when they're texting, and they just ignore it and move forward. So we're going to try, we're already trying their personal email. We collect personal emails from their job applications and their onboarding procedures. And we're going to provide whatever data that we have available sometime to the Board of Education in September of 2024. We also have some, and this is, I think, important, more important, staff hiring procedures. We're developing, or we already developed, an online onboarding form that will be mandatory. What that means is this form is a document. It's simple, but the hiring manager will have to certify with his or her signature that all of the different elements of the hiring procedure has been followed and completed. This will relate directly to some of the requirements in Policy 4101, and it will require the signature. For example, when there are questions, or in the past, we have some individuals coming here and saying, hey, I applied for this position, no one called me. No one told me that there was an interview, no one invited me. Well, now the hiring managers, and thanks God, it's not HR, please, but the hiring managers will have to send me that little document, and that document is not going to come in paper. It's going to be uploaded in the electronic request for onboarding. We have a personal system that, and that document will be memorialized as an attachment to the request for HR to proceed with the hiring. There might be time when a committee is not appropriate, or there is only one candidate that apply. Well, the hiring manager can just attest to that, sign, and in 2 years from now, someone comes and says to the board, 2 years ago, I did not even receive an invitation for one of the positions that I applied. The district will be able to go and track that particular person and the hiring manager with a document in an electronic system that will remain there for years to come. So I think this is a very important step forward. Some of our next steps will be, well, to publish the hiring, the recruitment, the strategic plan that we're going to follow and implement it. And we're going to try to achieve that by the end of September of this year. Continue with the anti-bias training, full implementation of the staff hiring form, and the report exit survey findings also in September of this year. Are there any questions?
I have Go.
I know the hour is late, and I'm going to try to be brief, but one of the things that I want to know is how are we sharing updates when there are updates to the changing requirements in licensing? We know that again, this shortage is not a Waukegan unique shortage. It's, not just national, it's statewide, and so the state has been, I don't know if laxing is a good word of saying, but they have been minimizing some of the certification routes. So for example, paraprofessionals can now get certified without having to take the test, right? And they can have that short-term license and wait 3 years to take that test and then get the full license. Or you can now substitute without having your bachelor's as long as you have 90 credits and are in an approved education program. CTE, same thing, right? As long as you have the experience in your field. So how are we, or have we been communicating out to parents, to parapros, to long-term subs, all these different ways that are changing, that are making it a little bit easier for those who want to become educators to become educators? And same thing with the long-term subs. Has there been anybody looking at if they're consistent long-term subs and we've been getting good feedback about them, have we been looking at their transcripts and seeing what is it that they're deficient in to support them in getting a certification to become a full-time teacher?
Well, we have some, number one, we do get the updates from the ISB and the ROE office directly into HR, so we see some of the updates, and not always are positive, some of them. For example, now, if you're a teacher, in order to teach kindergarten, you need to have an early childhood education license, so that excludes people that choose elementary, although kindergarten is in the elementary school, they cannot teach. Now, people like me who have been here for a couple of years, we will be great-great-great-grandfather on that area. But in the areas of the substitute, we do have some substitutes that have come without the requirements, and as long as they meet the criteria from the new criteria published by ISB, we have onboarded. I have to be very careful with those, right? Because they move away. There are exceptionalities to it. So we try, and with we're trying not just to communicate with them with emails, we're going to also try to enhance for the substitute the HR portion of the website so they can access that information. We're also using Facebook routinely here with the recruitment effort. I think I will add the situation with the substitute and all the particulars with the Facebook type of dissemination of information beside the websites.
I'm just thinking of, again, if we can be targeting not just those that are here interning like our subs, but like thinking of our parents that could potentially fill those like paraprofessional roles, knowing that they don't have to take the test, right? So just again, thinking of how do we also share that information out to the larger community so that we can start getting, hopefully more people, more staff.
Thank you for your question. And also I heard a comment during the last board meeting about nurses. Yes. We have a few nurses that we're trying to bring in. It's a different procedure to bring a teacher under a visa than to bring individuals who are not classroom teachers. Different procedure, a little more bureaucratic, costs some money. So we are experimenting now with a few nurses, psychologists, and social workers. Also our nurses here is not like a license that they get from ISB. It's some professional entity qualification here in the state, and those are the only ones that we hire, so they have to be able to meet all of those standards. So it's a little bit more difficult terrain, but we're moving in that direction. Now I can add say to the board that if I can lure 2 or 3 of those nurses coming here, you can imagine what I'm going to do then this coming year for next summer, right? But I need to set up that procedure, also the communication and the recruitment on those areas is difficult. Now, we continue recruiting here in Illinois, and we welcome and we take this opportunity not just to thank our staff, our present staff here in Waukegan, but also to encourage others who might be listening or that our staff might be in contact to invite them to apply in Waukegan Public School. All of our positions are posted, so it should be no problem to attract more individuals. We just have to make the district attractive.
I have Ms. Gonzalez, and then I see Mr. Vukovic.
And then can I go after Ms.
I wanted to know what we were thinking in terms of the anti-bias training for hiring managers. Is it going to be a full-fledged program or a professional development course? Because I think that it needs to be a little bit more robust.
Yes.
And I think we had talked about it, right?
Yes.
And I know that, you know, the videos help, especially for people that might need a refresher or something quick to sort of digest before they are part of the process, especially community members or people that we invite to participate in the process. But I think for the managers, for internal staff who are with us within the district, you know, just in different industries, there's a whole other level to it. It's more of a, you know, like a course load. Is there an appetite to do it that way, or what are we thinking for the anti-bias training?
Well, we're doing fast food here when we pulled that out because I was being hammered with the anti-bias, so we use the easy way, the fast way, which is with videos, right? At least the topic is there, it's mandatory, so that sends the message, right? So yes, we're open and we are going to explore. I heard the concerns with the 15-minute video that is not robust enough, and we certainly are going to put that, and that's part of the district strategic plan. So I'm sure that the superintendent also will be giving me some directions in that area, and Mr. Moulton too.
I think my only ask is when you're looking at those videos, and I know you're the associate chief of HR, but that you're looking for an HR expert that really knows adult learning and how long a video should be, or what does a program of learning look like for a district like ours, because I know we do it through a DLT where we're constantly learning, and we've had anti-bias and training. Ms. Fabian, you've sat through it, I believe, when you were part of the DLT, so there is components of that we've already have embedded, but I want to be very careful, and I'm going to say this from the board, it seems like a lot of times we're very reactionary instead of being proactive on what it is that we're actually delivering or what we're trying to accomplish. So for me, let's start with what we're trying to solve, the why, and work ourselves back that way to ensure that everything aligns. If not, we're just building silos as we move forward. So I'm not saying to keep the videos, but I wouldn't be in a rush to throw them out. I think we need to investigate more, like what does that program of study look like? What do those videos work? If not, what videos would work? What is the right amount of time? Who should actually be taking those courses, because it may look very different for a hiring manager versus someone sitting on an interview panel. But I mean, just so that we're very intentional with how we roll this out. That's my thoughts right now.
And I'm not insinuating to throw it out. When we have a tool, we forge a tool, we use it, right? But I'm saying, like, our goal is to fill the vacancies, right? And you know, and we could look at the data and look at different studies, but I think what we've been hearing for the community and also what's more effective for the students is that they be reflective of the community, right? And have a variety of backgrounds that specialize in the things that we need for the district. So I just don't want that to be lost in all of that.
Do you mind if I jump in just because it's tied to the anti-bias, since we're on that topic?
Sure.
I apologize, Mr. Vukovic.
Go ahead.
So I've taken multiple anti-bias trainings with my work. I've done it for the general employee,
timing, and that's like 30 to 45 minutes. I've also done it as a hiring manager, which is a separate training on top of that. So when, you brought up the time around these 3 videos, the reason I find that 15 minutes lacking is because the content also missed several components. It didn't define all types of bias, it just did the 3 most common. That's not going to be helpful. They need to be aware of all of them. We need to ensure it goes over the impact of the bias, that there's engagement with the trainee and exercises to self-reflect on some of their biases or identify like, oh, I hear this, that's this bias. So it reinforces, it's those quick assessments, just like our students learn, our adults are gonna learn that similar way. And it also goes into, it failed to go into educating on cultural competency. It didn't really touch on the legal framework associated. It didn't talk about anti-bias interruption techniques that need to go into it. It didn't talk about what a diverse hiring panel looks like. So when we have our hiring managers asking community members to come in, what that perspective is going to be. And it didn't have, like I said, assessments or activities to ensure that understanding is there. So those are, when we say that it was short, 15 minutes, it's because it lacked those touch points. So I'm excited to hear that it's going to be expanded and you're going to reach out to an expert in this area for training. But I just wanted to give you context as to why I had those feelings.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Vukovic. Thank you for letting me interrupt.
Go ahead, if we give Mr. Vukovic a microphone. Somebody, anybody. Mr. Alexakis.
Over the last 3 or 4 years, I've brought these topics up numerous times, and many times I've been told, well, we've got the union contracts, we can't do anything with that. Now, you've just settled a union contract with the teachers. This would have been a perfect time to have addressed some type of a housing incentive for a new teacher. You go to one of these colleges and you say, here's our salary schedule, but if you come and join us and live within the boundaries of our district, we'll give you an extra X number of dollars a month for a year or two. It's something that might bring somebody here. The other thing that I had brought up numerous times was the wealth of knowledge that's left this district through the form of retirement. That you've got teachers out there that, and Brandon, I've told this to you a number of times, if you treat them like the professionals they are and pay them like the professionals they are, you could get some of them to come back and fill some of these vacancies. Maybe it's not for the entire year, I know there's limitations, maybe they split it with another teacher, but you would have the valuable resource of somebody that was in this district that could go into a position and cover rather than bringing from outside. Just something that, we need to look at.
And can I speak for you, Superintendent? More so than looking at it, I know there were concerns with the rollout last year, so there were revamps to what is being planned. That's an intentional reach out to those teachers. We haven't talked salary, so I don't know what that is, but I mean, the relevant question that Mr. Vukovic has raised is we put out a salary. If we don't get someone, then we pay a temp agency or the other group, and sometimes that hourly amount is more than we were willing to pay the teachers. So all of that is being taken under consideration, and there will be a rollout, not in September, not in the fall, but it's already happening and working on it. To the other point, since he won't let help me pass a referendum, I will say is that that's one of the things me and Mr. Vukovic have agreed on for a very long time, and we talked about that being pre-employment, and we talked about that being a recruitment tool. I don't know if it can be a monthly incentive, but I do know that we had a way around a way to it would be eligible, right? Sorry, Miss Polk, because it's 2. So it's money, but we also do have a grant for, we got a grant for a teacher recruitment grant, and we applied again this year, if I'm not mistaken. So using those resources for something that Mr. Vukovic is talking about, I think is more than appropriate. We can figure out and talk about what it looks like, but I think we have twofold. So you have recruitment, and then we have the opportunity to get those individuals to live in Waukegan. Like it, love it, indifferent, I don't care, we're going to keep doing it. What I have found successful about the international teaching is that many of those individuals do choose to make Waukegan home while they're here. And so even for them, some of the things that we're doing, which I don't always love, right? They have to make those sacrifices to get here, is coming and doing a pre-employment in which we say, if you choose to make Waukegan home, right, then we're going to give you whatever that dollar amount is decided by the board and that we can afford. I think, and then for teachers that choose to purchase in Waukegan, if you've been a teacher for 20 years and you live down the road and you decide that you want to purchase in Waukegan, I think that there's something that we will be able to do to assist with that. Maybe a different bucket of money, but I think that it exists, and I don't think that it would be millions of dollars, right? We spent $500,000 on the parking lot. So I think that if we can fill 24 of these vacancies this way, I think that's money well spent.
Yeah, it's like $10,000 in space. So wouldn't it be nice if you hired one of these teachers and they lived right across the street from the school? You would need a parking space for them.
They could walk. So no, go ahead. I want to be, so everybody on that side is good, or you guys still had questions?
Yeah, well, I was just gonna add to your point, like it's a community block grant idea or something like that, a different pot of money. But
We got TIF districts, so I want to expand and go to the city, which if you purchase in certain neighborhoods, that in addition to what we're giving, there are additional benefits that the city can do as well. But that is long-term plan, and it takes all of us working together. That's not something that we can just decide, or the city. But I do think it's a great idea. Miss Fabian.
I'm going to take that monthly payment retroactive. But there are programs as well apart from this, like that HUD Housing does, that does give housing to teachers at half the cost. And sometimes those programs are here, or those houses are available here in Waukegan as well. So I think that's another thing that maybe we can support as far as looking at those opportunities where it's not even coming out of our funds, right? But if we can support those that are attempting to come to say, hey, here are some other avenues to make housing affordable for you to live here. That's one way. That's one approach. One thing that I've always asked for is a referral program, because while I love the idea of trying to compensate people for moving into the district, you have a lot of staff that have already been in the district, and I feel some of them might feel slighted, right? Like, we already been here. Where's our compensation for that? But I think when you have an incentive for staff to recruit, there's two things happening there. One, obviously you fill positions, but two, if I'm trying to recruit my friend to come and work in this district, I'm not going to speak negatively about the district, right? I'm going to talk about all the positive things and the reasons why I'm working in this district. So you should come too, so that I can earn that incentive. I don't know what that would look like.
I know an employer that if you're recruited and you stay for 6 months, the person who's listed as the referral, they get $1,000. So you got to stay here 6 months. We can make it a year.
Right.
You got to stay a school year, right? So if you start in October, you got to finish, and that incentivizes the individual. So there are multiple ways to do it, and we're not talking millions of dollars. We're talking some very minimum tools to help you, because we criticize that we're not able to finish to these positions, but I also would say we don't always give you all the tools that we can in order to strengthen the argument.
Sorry, and I was going to add just to that. So again, the positive speech that happens when you're the referring, and I do have to acknowledge too, and I'm going to just call it out, I think sometimes we can also hinder you. So just reminding the board as well as how we behave and how we talk, and you have new admins that get hired on and they're seeing the way the board conducts themselves. So I want to personally apologize that sometimes I know that we're not helping your efforts either. So because I've heard it from constituents that watch and say, I wouldn't go there. So I apologize as well if there have been instances where we as the board have not been supporting you in your role as well.
Ms. Lindsay?
I would just mention too that good neighbor next door program that you're talking about. I know several teachers in Waukegan that bought homes under that program. So that would be something we should advertise. You can buy HUD homes. It's available for pre-kindergarten through 12th grade firefighters, emergency medical technicians, and law enforcement and teachers.
And
I mean, it's just one program, and then there's other programs. I know we do advertise these somewhat sometimes, but it's something we should always use as in our recruiting. And that, yeah, and that you also could use the incentive of teachers going to get their degree. There's oftentimes programs available where if they then work in a district like ours, they don't have to pay back all of that program.
We did that teacher resource fair, and I know we've
Right.
done it in fits and stops, right? Where we had, not teachers, but staff resource fair at the beginning of the year. It may be an opportunity with the all-employee meeting to talk about some of those benefits. Ms. Lindsay?
So I'm going to go back to the other items that I haven't yet talked on before I interrupted Mr. Vukovic. So I'm really happy, Mr. Figueroa, that you touched on the international hire for our nurses, social workers, psychologists, and that we are looking at the avenues to get that in place so that we can start utilizing that as another access point to hiring in-district staff. So again, to board president's comment, we can hire the people, or we can pay the people that are working for us instead of paying contract services for them to hire people to work for us. When we look at the efforts of pulling in other staff members, I know one of the slides had Miss Fulton and Miss May, and I believe they're going to HBCUs. I want to know what sort of supports they have in place before they go to the events. And the reason I'm asking is and I hope I say this appropriately, it's a fine line of making sure they're supported and we're not tokenizing them because they look like the people that they're going to speak to and try to recruit, right? I get the component of, if you look like me, that's an access point. I feel more comfortable. I'm a little bit more at ease, but I just want to make sure that there's supports in place so we're not tokenizing them. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Right, there is for sure, there is 100% support, but they can't speak by themselves for that. And I'm there to support any initiative they have, their schedule, the sites. They are the main trust in that effort. So if they want me there, I will go there. If they want another staff, they certainly are free to do that. And we, through HR, we pay through our recruitment account all of the effort. So 100% without any doubt. They are completely free. They're not taking directive from me to go and show up there. No, they are elaborating the entire effort. They choose the places, and at least Yvonda, for sure, she has been involved in those activities. She do have experience in that, and Ms. Mays also have shown interest and have participated. So this entire year, they have been doing that, and we hope to enhance that effort. And I also quote the board president when I talk to them that the issue here might not be just on the first try to recruit individuals. If that happens, fantastic, but it is to establish relationships and try to open communication, because that's exactly what I have done, and that's what allowed me to recruit teachers in Spain and the Philippines, right? You already know the people, they trust you, you behave professionally in terms that you support the teacher when they come here, and that creates an atmosphere, an environment of trust. Trust not because of the dealings, but trust in terms that they know that I will be looking up for those teachers. And if I have to go, as I very well do, pick them up myself at the airport, that's exactly what I do. Actually, in the third week of July, one flight will bring me 17 of them at the same time. Certainly, I want to be there to welcome them and make sure that the transition is smooth and that they feel supported, not just stranded coming here to the U.S.
Okay, and then so I have two pieces on that. So I just want to make sure I'm understanding. So then for those that we are tapping in to go to HBCUs or other avenues, they are coming to you asking for resources to better do their job?
Absolutely.
Okay, and so you're
Open-ended.
supporting them in that way?
Open-ended.
Okay, perfect.
Open-ended, not even an argument.
Yeah,
They guide
understood.
that effort.
Yeah. I just want to make sure because perception can kind of run the narrative, and so I just wanted an opportunity
Absolutely,
to clarify
and I'm
that.
giving the names so board members can certainly contact them and verify this.
Perfect. And then the other component with this piece is you touched on relationships. So from what I'm understanding, Ms. Fulton, Ms. May, they're maintaining relationships with the colleges that they're visiting because over time that's going to be beneficial for both sides. So are we doing that with the other colleges? Because there was, what was it? Was it Tennessee? I can't see the slide.
Tennessee, I have been there
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah,
Personally.
and so you're maintaining relationships with them throughout the year?
I even share my business card that I with Yvonda,
Yeah.
just to make sure that they continue that. I have
Yeah.
been in Fisk University and Tennessee State. They choose to go there also, and
Yeah.
they also included, I think North Carolina might not be listed there, but they have been North Carolina and Florida.
Okay.
In those efforts.
My question in this area is that I didn't see Illinois State University, which is a lot of people, like my friends went there to be a teacher. I went to UIUC,
Me personally,
ILL.
I have been there.
But I didn't see that as like a continued relationship or National Lewis. Right, or you talk about, Illinois State University, Northern Illinois,
Some
those
of the
components.
universities that traditionally will have a job fair
Yeah.
have switched to virtual.
Yeah.
And that's
Well, I just wanna make
that
sure-
creates a big barrier for us because in the virtual, I mean, you're in front of the computer. It's not that you have 200 students there and you're going to talk to them. No, they need to choose the communication to communicate with you. So sometimes you're using the computer on a standby waiting for a student to choose you, and then 1, 2, 3 doesn't produce.
But on those universities, they have individual colleges, like the College of Education. My concern is,
Yes.
just as we're going through it, I don't want to belabor the point, that we're building relationships with those heads of colleges to check in to see how it's going, how are your enrollment numbers for those interested to become teachers, what are some of the concerns I have that we're building and we're preparing for so we can be proactive. So
Agreement.
that's just a piece on that. And then with the retention video, can you just confirm what the target audience or target staff is for that?
Individuals who are hiring teachers.
Okay.
Our priority, at least with this initiative, is teachers. So we send that out 3 weeks ago, I believe, to principals and assistant principals.
So the hiring managers
The
are the
hiring
targets.
manager for teachers.
Okay. And then the target areas, I noticed on there, it wasn't listing like speech and language pathologists, it wasn't targeting social workers, it wasn't targeting our nurses.
We have our coordinator or lead teacher, I think,
Okay.
to become coordinator. They're open. We posted the position. I don't know how the recruitment goes with that particular position, but we already sent 2 individuals to a couple of sites of their choice, they choose, and we just support them as much as we can. They went, and I do believe that they were successful in bringing a couple of students there to come and start working in Waukegan as employees of Waukegan Public Schools.
Yeah. Well, it's just, Dr. Bublitz has come up and explained all of the efforts that his team is doing to fill those positions. And you're not just you're not the only hiring director for all of your target areas. So to me, it was just surprising not seeing diverse learners as one of those target areas. So that's just a component I had. And then the last piece that I have, well, 2. 1, can we get the presentation posted to the business meeting because it's not available as an attachment? And then 2, do we have access concerns by only making it a virtual or online electronic application process? Have we opened it up to someone who maybe can't do it that way to come into Lincoln Center to fill it out here?
Well, we do receive individuals that come to Lincoln Center. Sometimes they don't know how to apply. They believe it's a paper application, and we provide a terminal, a computer, for them to fill it out, and a staff member to assess if they have any difficulties handling the technology.
Beautiful. I just want to make sure the access and the accessibility is there. So that
Hopefully in the
everybody
new
knows.
building, we will have enhanced capabilities in that area. We're not going to use terminal, then we're going to use hand devices for that.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Fingerling.
Thank you.
Ms. Fabian?
I know it's getting late in the hour, but I'm full of ideas. So just really quick, prior to you being here way long time ago, remember Fred Howard? I made a deal with him when I came on board. So one of the barriers for our parapros to become teachers is also that student teaching component where you have to stop working and not get paid, but you also lose benefits. So if we could look at our grants and see if there is a way. What I did was asked for my health benefits, my health insurance benefits to continue while I was student teaching, and then I signed a commitment that I would teach for 3 years in the district. Obviously, I did more than that, but the point being that 6 weeks of student teaching of paying a month and a half of my health insurance translated to having a teacher for 3 years, right? And that's something that I had negotiated on my own, was not a standard practice, but I think that's something that we should also look at, and especially when we're looking at these grants, is seeing how we can remove barriers from individuals, because that is a huge burden of you don't get paid for a while and you lose benefits. Also, with our being proactive and how are we recruiting student teachers, because again, studies show and research show that those who student teach in a certain school district generally end up staying in that school district that we student teach. So how are we making those connections to really recruit student teachers? And again, I know Gwen's gonna not like what I say, but also understanding that there are avenues to have student teaching be paid as long as the university is in agreement with it. So, just finding avenues to remove barriers for people to move up if they so choose to, or move from para to teaching if they so choose, and trying to recruit proactively, even just starting at the student teacher end.
We have collaborated and have experience in that area, in the instructional area, paraprofessional, for example, that want to become teachers. So yes, they're working, they're under a contract, secretaries, they're under a contract, but we have worked with them individually to see how we can facilitate that they can do some of their student teaching and modify their time. In exchange for that, they commit to some years. A good example, if you come to HR tomorrow, I have an intern in HR. She's finishing her degree in human resources, and she's a night custodian. So she works after she performed her 6 hours with us. She's doing fantastic, local employee of Waukegan Public School. That's just right now.
My question and comment was related to that and the public thing, right? My wife had to stop working in order to be do our student teaching. So as a family, we had to sacrifice, which is fine, right? Well, we could afford to. So we had to sacrifice for 9 months in order to go through that process. So I think if there is a way, even if it's a small stipend, for us to be able to incentivize those individuals, again, it's a recruitment tool. And I'm not talking about millions of dollars. When you are paying somebody zero, and now you say I'm gonna give them something, it allows them to be able to make some of those decisions and sacrifices. And then having a point person, again, we talk about money and budgeting, and I know the requests come through, but I think the board has to understand that it is about relationships, and yes, you want results, but these are things that have to be reestablished over time. And so I'm not saying this as a dig, I'm saying this as a reality, and I've said it before, is the perception is that Waukegan Public Schools is difficult, right, to get into, to work for, to student teach for, right? So having a designated point of contact whose goal is not only to create and establish those relationships, but just like you're doing with our teachers that we recruit internationally, a point person is because while, and I'm speaking about an individual family member, the school community, which I know they do the hiring, they're there, that's where she is, very supportive, but there was no relationship with like, oh, this is my HR contact or the person that I go to or who I'm reaching out to. Where if I have a concern, right, what if my school site is not handling or doing things in a great way, which wasn't our experience, it was phenomenal. But I just want to say as superintendent, director of HR, that may be something that's worth an investment, is because to Ms. Fabian's point is National Louis, Carthage College, UW Parkside, we do get some, but I'm telling you is that of the 20 that we might have had, that number might have been 40, right? Just because some of the times they have to advocate for themselves by setting up that relationship with that specific school. If they don't have a relationship with that specific school, there's not like a call this number to do your student teaching, right? It's figuring out who the person is and having to go through our layers of bureaucracy to figure out the right contact and to get your school placement. Whereas if we know we have 20 teachers who are committed to student teaching, we know it's money for them. They get paid a stipend to do the student teach. And then we know that through these conversations, we can see if there's opportunities to compensate those who are doing the student teaching. Yep. All right. So we do have, thank you, Ms. Figueroa. I
Thank you.
appreciate that update. We have student support handbook, second reading. That information has been presented. There were some very small technical changes that Ms. Gonzalez presented. And so once we get a recommended action, if you just want to read off what those were, and we got responses, I think, as well.
Yeah.
All right.
You want me to say what the recommendations
Take
were?
the motion, make the motion.
Oh.
Let's do it together and with the, because I would rather do it that way. Go ahead. Yep. But that's not the recommended action, though.
So motion to approve, and that's it.
Doesn't the superintendent have to read the
She will. We have a question about what we're saying. One second.
Okay.
Yep. So what we would, our superintendent, if you can read the recommended action.
Okay. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the 2024 through 2025 Student Support Handbook updated as recommended by the administration. The handbook was presented for the first reading on June 11th. Additional modification.
Just that last sentence. So,
final
by the
update.
administration and then final updates.
Okay. Final updates to contact numbers, email addresses, and staff assignments will be made prior to publication.
Motion to approve the recommendation.
Motion by Ms. Gonzalez.
Second.
Second by Mr. Riddle. And again, just for transparency, because I don't know if the whole board got it, but it was recommended changes.
You want me to say them?
Yeah, just quickly.
I had suggested there's and I can't list the pages right now, but on one of the pages where it lists the information for the wraparound center, I suggested that a contact information and the location or how to make an appointment be added. For details about the fees in lieu of, or the volunteer hours in lieu of fees, for it to be explicit where they could get the form and how they need to submit it if signatures are needed, because links were included, but if they're reading a physical thing, it might not be, and so there was clarity on that. And then the final thing, I'm forgetting.
The graduation date, I think you want
Yes,
that mentioned
yes,
in there.
for if we have a pinned down graduation date, for it to be included, and Mr. Dupuy answered all three of those.
Yeah. Okay. All right, got a motion second. Any other questions, comments? Roll call.
Mr.
All in favor signify with aye.
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 Any opposed, nay. Handbook is approved. I am going to do board member time because I don't think we did it last time. But I do want to call you as remind board members of the hour. I'll start at that end with Ms. Gonzalez.
Oh, I got the longest, I think, or I'll try to read it because I was trying to make my thoughts a little more coherent. So I did want to apologize to the board and especially our previous student board member, Victor. At the last board meeting, I made my exit prior to reviewing his proclamation, and I failed to provide feedback to him and the team beforehand. That was my homework, and I want to emphasize that his work hasn't gone unnoticed. We have limited time with our students in the district, and I want my time to be dedicated to uplifting students in the schools that we serve, especially those who are one step before they leave the district. Secondly, I do want to make a statement to the community and our team and students who may have been emotionally impacted by either my singular or our collective behavior as a board. I want to improve the community, and I understand that everyone that sits beside me on the dais wants to improve the community as well. I don't ever doubt that intent. And so the messages we deliver or the opportunities that we share to learn from one another become paramount. And our rhetoric can either make us feel welcome, seen, or appreciated, or it can make us feel alienated and unwanted. Because we have voted as a board, I feel like we all want to increase opportunity. We all want to provide a quality education. We all want to embrace each student and employee for who they are. And while each student may have different needs and require a unique investment so that we don't fail them, I have to attempt to redirect when I observe language or behavior that infringes those beliefs. As board members, each of us retain the right to ask questions on data or initiatives, especially those that directly impact students. And we can call a point of order when we become unfocused. We have heard time and time again that we should be supportive and constructive of employees and that meetings should be effective. We fail the district when we are unprepared or when we force employees to present information that they had not been expected to present on. I know that there are efforts, highly visible and some that are not, that are in place to achieve the success of all students. Like our Black students who need resources and care, English language learners need resources and care, and we can promote the success plans for both populations at the same time, not only because it's the right thing to do, but because it's a mandate that we have a responsibility to deliver.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Ms. Fabian?
I share your sentiments, Ms. Gonzalez. Thank you for that. And I want to be quick because the hour is late, so I just want to highlight 3 different community events while we are talking about unity in our community. There is a Unity in Our Community event on Friday that is open to the public, 1 to 7. It's completely free at the beach, and I do hope that that is an opportunity for our students and our community to come together and really celebrate each other. And then we also have the picnic on the lawn starting at noon here at Lincoln Center, right before the parade, which starts at 1. And this is something that I'm excited about because it's something that Nick has sent me for hot dogs before. But I will be here and help you wrap those up. So I hope to see, again, our community come out and get together and, again, celebrate each other and celebrate this great country of ours.
Thank you so much, Ms. Fabian. And that's crazy. Me and the superintendent, we apologize for the sidebar. But that's this Sunday?
The 30th, yeah.
That's crazy to us.
Yeah, so we always do the Sunday before Independence Day. So this Sunday.
That's crazy. Mr. Riddle.
Yeah, this Sunday, don't forget it, this Sunday, we celebrate our Independence Day parade. And it's going to be a nice one, and it's not going to rain this year. We missed it last year. Many of us were all ready for it. There were floats and everything ready. I know our Lions Club had one, but we couldn't, everything had to get canceled because of the rain. So the weather forecast is great, so it's going to be a good parade. An item I'd like to ask to be put on the agenda. I've talked to the board president. I know we've had some very late meetings, and it's very late now. But our district spends $1.5 to $2 million a year for electricity costs. And many districts have been able to save money on the electric bills. One of the best ways to do that is with solar energy. And I think our district needs to look into this possibility. There is a company that I've spoken to. They say that we should take advantage of some current solar savings that are available to a district like ours, and that our district would not have to put out any money at all. Many districts have to put out money, and there's like a 6 or 7 year payout to before you start making, pay back the amount of money you had to put out to get those solar panels up on a roof. There's another option, and that is a solar field. And the state now has a program available through. And again, this needs to be checked out by our district. But I'd like to ask the board president to put this on our agenda for the next board meeting so we can talk about it maybe? And
Next board meeting is
next board meeting
until
and
July.
I've sent the board members some information. I know Mr. Sheldon, our solar advisor to the solar field that's being built at the Yeoman Creek restoration remediation project, has been given some information as well by this company that is telling us they can save us not maybe more than 30%, maybe up to all of our 100%, with zero financing to our district. So I think we're remiss in not looking into this, whether this is viable or not. I'm not the person that needs to do it, can be able to do it, but I think our board at least needs to look at this prospect. So I'd like to ask Board President, could we put that on our agenda, make it a topic?
Do we
for
have
next-
just concurrence to, because it's been an agenda item a couple of times.
It's been
and
a
so-
couple times, and we've run late a couple times,
Yeah.
and we haven't had a chance to talk about it.
And so I think the main discussion, as Mr. Riddle mentioned, is not necessarily up to us. We do have the solar, the attorney that's dealing with that. So if we can loop him in and make the connection to that individual,
maybe we could,
and then they can go from there.
He has the information, and I have an email from him today, but I haven't looked at it yet.
Okay, so if he can look at it, he's the person that has the expertise.
Yep.
And is this company blowing smoke, or are he sent me information from 8 other school districts that he worked on?
So we
I can
have the
look at that.
concurrence.
I can look at that and communicate to the board.
Okay, great. That's all I'm asking for.
Yep.
Thank you. So, because, plants learned a long time ago how to take advantage of free energy.
Yep.
And I think it's time that, we as a school district look at some free energy. It's going to be there for millions and millions of years, and solar power is a way to go. So if we can tap that and we can do so without capital funds being invested, we should do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Riddle. And so we do have concurrence, and we'll wait for attorney review and recommendations. Miss Lindsay.
Nobody. I want to make a comment regarding a lot of our public comment sentiments and stories shared. To me, it was heartbreaking that there was some miscommunication that led individuals to believe that we would possibly take away services for our newcomers or those in our bilingual or ESL or dual language programs. And I think, Board President, you said it very well. These populations need supports. Our students need supports. And depending on what demographic you fit into, that necessitates differentiated supports. And so it should never be a fight for resources. It should always be a conversation of how do we get our students what they need so they can be successful. So to hear some of the stories shared, like as a parent, like being away from my kids for 2 years, that was heartbreaking. That was very heartbreaking. So I'm very happy, that individuals come to Waukegan to build a life here. And I'm very happy to be part of a school district that looks to support them and give them the resources that they need. I understand we're legally obligated to do it, but I believe that everyone on this board wants all of our students to succeed and grow and learn. So that was very humbling to know just the privilege of being with my family on a day-to-day. I also wanted to comment regarding our LGBTQIA2S+ proclamation and some of the comments. Parents do matter. I don't think anyone on the board is saying that parents don't matter. You are raising your children, you are instilling in them the values that you want them to carry forward. And one of those values is respect. And whether you agree or disagree or have certain perceptions, the goal is to ensure everyone is respected and everyone feels safe. So it's not an intention to leave parents out of the conversation. This just reinstills those core beliefs that everyone should have, treat others the way you want to be treated, for a population that doesn't feel that they're receiving in some instances. On a lighter note, because we missed comments from prior meetings, I was able to join the Pride Parade that was on June 1st here in Waukegan. It was great. It was nice to see, even though it was raining, people still came out to attend. I would like to be more supportive of our staff and students in the queer community, to maybe have a better presence as a district next year, just to show solidarity for our students, our staff, our community members. And then also there was the Oakdale Greenhouse ribbon cutting for our recently passed second grade teacher, Miss Caitlin Schomburger. It was a beautiful ceremony. Hopefully people read the article in the paper, but it's just a nice way to spread the love and sunshine that Miss Quinones Nelson talks about whenever speaking of Miss Schomburger. So that was a great event to attend, and I'm so happy that the district is able to honor her memory in that way. That's all I have.
Thank you so much for that, Ms. Lindsay. Mr. McBride.
For the sake of time, I'll pass, but I just want to say another interesting night.
Thank you. I had a longer statement, but I've spoken enough. So with that, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McBride.
Second.
Second by Ms. Gonzalez. Any comments or questions? All in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Meeting is adjourned.